Hello and welcome to the Dad and Sons podcast. Did you miss me? I'm back with my bad opinions, but bigger smiles. Hello, fellas.
Hi.
Oh boy, the stuff I could say. I'm gonna keep quiet.
It's nice to be back. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you again.
You're back on the epic lawsuit day, and
God.
I don't know. I'm a little scared.
Right, we're making a hard, fast rule. Never ask me for my opinion ever again about video game developers.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
I think everything just shut down. You hear that?
The FBI.
I don't hear that.
I did.
Hear that.
The FBI finally contacted Matt.
It was just like a high-pitched whine.
What the fuck was that? Why?
I think the power just went out, but my battery backup just turned on. Hold on.
I hear it screaming back there. It sounds like you're doing surgery on it or something. Save it, Matt. We don't need any complications for the operation.
We can see the illumination now of the background for the first time ever. I see a door frame. It's actually kind of creepy. I expect
he really does look like Shinji's dad.
We are keeping this in the show. We're not getting rid of this. This is gold. We have returned.
Yes.
We have visual on the visual.
Yes, I'm here.
Shinji's dad is in the building. He has power again. Powering those Evas.
Oh my god.
I'm looking at the outline and unfortunately realizing, did no one watch Mortal Kombat again?
Wait, I've watched half of that movie. I haven't finished the other half.
I didn't watch it.
I don't.
No,
because I don't think
talked about it.
We can do this next week.
God.
I was gonna say, okay, you guys can talk about it because I just didn't watch it. I was watching My Hero Academia dub again from the beginning, and Invincible.
I was watching Ted Lasso and having a better time, and Invincible.
Yeah, I didn't want to watch a mediocre movie.
I'll talk about Invincible.
There's not a limited amount of time on the weekend, you know? I want to watch one.
I swear, it was you guys' idea.
No,
I thought I was catching up
Liam,
with stuff you were
a copy.
Look, I started watching it. I got halfway through and it was late and I just haven't returned to it. We will get there. It's not anywhere near as good as any of the TV I'm going to talk about today, but we'll get there.
Exactly.
But it's video games, right? The most important, biggest
Well,
thing.
I don't know. I could
bread.
pretty much talk about Yasuke, and Yasuke pretty much is a fucking video game anime.
I was gonna watch that yesterday, but played video games instead.
Oh no. Matt, have you watched Yasuke?
Oh, I will be. I will be.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll save. I don't know if you want to. Yeah, I won't say anything about Yasuke now. That'll be
I'll
something
definitely
else
watch
we
it
can
before
talk about.
next week for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch Yasuke.
Yasuke.
Yasuke on Netflix, the internet flick service.
Can I very briefly jump into talking about the fact that I finished Invincible today?
Yeah.
And I know Matt's talked about it already, but I just wanted to confound that Matt was entirely right.
I don't know what a superhero is, so this is your guys' realm.
Please tell me.
I'm not a fan of like American comic books and stuff. I never really have. Marvel and stuff like that never really has interested me greatly. But
yeah.
gotta throw it out there.
Yeah.
Dad of the Year, Omni-Man.
Yeah.
Dad of the Year. He's winning my Dad Award of the Year this year.
Oh my god. Yeah.
If you haven't watched Invincible and you plan on doing so, don't listen to this because you don't want to.
You don't want to.
But it's a pretty straightforward show. You know where it's going. It's a coming of age story, but it's fucking great. It's brutal and emotional and great.
It's great.
It's very, very fucking good. I was entirely surprised just how gripping, even though you know where the story's going, right? It's so easy to tell, right? But you're like, wait a second. There's more to this in all of these different things. It's brilliant. It's very, very, very good.
Yeah. Every episode has you like, huh? What?
And you're like waiting. You're like, when is it gonna happen? I know it's gonna be revealed. I know that son of a bitch is a bad guy. But when and why?
Man.
And it was what I thought it was. It was literally Vegeta Goku. Like it was exactly the same plot line as the Saiyans, which I respect.
Wait, really? They're space pirates?
No, it's more like the Galactic Empire. As I said, don't listen to this if you plan on watching it, because I can't. Me and Matt have seen it. Spoilers abound.
Yeah,
because it's too good.
I don't know. Watchmen didn't have any aliens.
I don't know about you, Matt. I knew it was going to be something like he was sent here for world domination, and then he fell in love with human.
Wait, are we spoiling it for George? George, do you care? George is never gonna. That's right. George is never gonna watch anything.
George will get one episode.
I watched Mortal Kombat. I literally have a huge page of notes
because it's video games.
But that directly answers your question if George never watches anything.
The video game book.
You did read the.
That's how
Doom
dedicated
book.
you are. You're dedicated to the games. Dedicated to the games, George.
You're a gamer with a capital G.
Yeah. But
G for gamer.
Outside that little circle, that little video game circle, that little small little dot. George has the blank look.
No, go on. Continue. What's outside the dot?
Tell us
what's outside the dot,
George. You have to stick your toe out and see if it's warm once in a while. You know what I mean?
You're going to watch Yasuke, but I will admit, I think Yasuke is pretty video game inspired. You guys will know what I mean when you watch it. You straight up will be like, oh, yes, these men play video games.
All I can see is Afro Samurai, and I welcome it.
No, don't even,
Pause.
Don't. just watch it first.
Wait, was Afro Samurai about that guy?
No. Meaning Afro Samurai is like one of the...
Afro Samurai is good, though.
I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say is it the only... Like, I don't know. There's not a
black character in anime that isn't a racist stereotype. Yes, he is.
Yes,
but he does have an afro.
Synopsis. He's named Afro. So,
well,
it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Jackson as well. Like it was. It's definitely. What did it? It wasn't made by a Japanese studio, was it?
I can't. It was produced by a Japanese studio.
Yeah. Wikipedia has a bunch of Japanese names in the credits. Directed by Fuminori Kazaki.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Produced by Koji Kajita.
Yasuke, although, however, not written by a Japanese studio. It is made by the Attack on Titan Studio Mappa.
Oh,
made Yasuke.
Interesting.
So as you can tell, the animation is a bit giri sometimes.
Wait, did they fuck it up? They're doing a new animation style? Fucking hell.
They're doing the Netflix style, the blend into 3D sometimes for some unknown reason.
Oh my god, what are they doing?
But you'll get that. You'll watch
so
it.
Good. They're so
You'll watch it. Look, we're
now.
detracting from the fact that Invincible is fucking amazing, and I forgot I was watching a Saturday morning cartoon, like the most brutal Saturday morning cartoon I've ever seen.
Now that's animation,
and I loved it. I loved.
Oh my god,
that is animation, and I love that they lean into George Cabarrus if you care. Oh, he does care. Intriguing. I love that they leaned into Omni-Man basically being the biggest, brutalist piece of shit ever. Like, he's literally Space Hitler. It's awesome.
Dude, the train.
The train. The train.
You knew what was going to happen once he's like, oh, I'm going to make you understand. And he fucking holds him up.
When he said his mother is a pet, and you're like, oh, damn. Oh, damn.
Because, I mean, he's lived for a very long time, but like, I don't know. He put a lot of things into perspective.
I thought he was going to say something like, I've had 8 wives or something already. Yeah. I thought he was going to say something like that. And he's like, I have thousands of children and you're just one insignificant speck. But wow, it was very, very, very good.
It's season 2. It's going to be quite interesting. Hopefully he starts lifting weights because Omni-Man is way bigger than him.
Oh, just like when he's punching him, like, oh, his like he looks so, his face is so contorted with anger.
Yeah.
Like Omni-Man is scary. Like scary.
You got to give it up to the voice actors, man. The voice actors were on point, man.
J.K. Simmons, man. Fucking
man.
Give me those photos of Spider-Man. Like, it's so good.
He's so good. Oh man. And the Walking Dead guy has come very, very, very far.
Gotta respect Robert Kirkman. Yeah. Heck yeah.
Robert Kirkman.
Fuck me, what a show.
There's another Walking Dead guy on there?
That is the Kirkman, isn't it?
Talking about Steve.
Sorry,
Talking about
George.
Steve, man.
Come on, you. Steve?
Yeah. He's Invincible. Let me see. Hold on.
Oh, yes, but Robert Kirkman is the guy who wrote Walking Dead and Invincible.
Wait, what? The
Yeah,
comic
yeah,
books?
yeah.
You're talking about the
Yeah.
comic books?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Robert Kirkman is the guy who made Invincible.
He's gonna make sure it doesn't go the way of the Walking Dead. I bet. I don't even know if there's a new season.
I certainly hope not.
I've totally forgotten about it. I've completely forgotten about it. Let me see. Is there a new season?
Dude, holy shit. This has been going on since 2002. My goodness. What? Invincible.
The comic?
Yeah.
That means just we could skip if we wanted to.
I have no idea. It's been going on for this long.
I think a lot of people are going to skip, but I think I'm going to wait. I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to listen to the manga. I mean, read the manga.
I thought it was like a new thing, but I guess not.
There is 11 seasons of The Walking Dead, so it continued. I guess Daryl as the main character.
I mean,
holy shit.
Yeah, I know. I meant like Invincible has been like a comic since 2002.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this. Oh,
wow.
It might have finished. Already.
It's very, very good though.
It's very
wow.
good, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, George, we'll bring you in. Get back in here, buddy. Come on, George. Come on.
George.
Is he on another tab but he can't see us because he doesn't have his headphones on and he can't hear us? George!
Hello.
George!
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Were you reading another tab?
I was reading through the outline. I briefly cupped my headphones back in for just a second and heard Matt say he's invincible. So I assumed you guys were, still at it.
That wasn't a spoiler. Don't worry.
Oh, so it's not a spoiler that he's invincible.
You should. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's your type, George. I don't know what is your type, George. What is your type other than like anime high school type stuff? Because I know you love that stuff.
Oh gosh, I love getting bullied on the podcast. I really love having topics that
I was talking about anime
get kicked out
shows,
of for spoiler warnings.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about what I love about life in general.
That is an interesting question though. Like, what is it that you look for, George? Because we know some of the stuff you like. Thermi Romai, Butter and Jesus.
Yeah, right.
So like stuff anime that has like existential questions. Like what is it specifically? Because Invincible, I think I kind of think it would be your thing, and then I also think you would tune out pretty quickly. So it's very hard to judge.
My thing is over the recent years been documentaries, right? Like the most excited thing that me, Mr. Everything Has to Be About Video Games, was talking about on the podcast a week ago was the Pepe the Frog documentary. I like weird documentaries. That's what I like. I like documentaries with beautiful footage that tackle weird subject matters that do an elegant job of explaining some fun facts that make the world make more sense. That's
so no fun, basically.
Dude, I'm old. Fun just doesn't feel as fun as it used to anymore. Law of diminishing returns kicks in.
Can I recommend something?
Fun.
Can I recommend something to both of you because I think it's very important in the
I've had my fun.
The year of our Lord and Savior 2021, right?
I am so exhausted. It's legitimately hard.
So this is why I want to perk you up, okay? Invincible, you can take it one way, the other way. It's kind of a downer of a series ultimately, really. But, and I think it's really important. I don't want to avoid the opportunity. to ask you guys to watch Ted Lasso.
Oh, I thought you went to see Shadow and Bone. All right, let's see.
No, because I have no idea whether I'm enjoying that or not. I've not got a clue. Like, that's just another Netflix thing that's out right now.
We doing TED Talks now?
We're doing TED Talks. I want to specifically talk to you about one TED, right? And this is a bit hard because you have to sign up to Apple TV to watch it, which is absolute balls.
What?
Why would you want to do that, right? So I took the plunge because I wanted to watch this series because I heard a lot about it. And I also want to watch Mythic Quest, of course, which is Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia's new show that's about like a video game studio.
Wait, hold up. Did you just complain about a show being on a service that you're finding inconvenient?
I'm just joining the crowd, George. I'm just pandering. I'm pandering to the audience. But I just want to, because I won't take up too much time with this because it might not be everybody's cup of tea. But Ted Lasso, Jason Sudeikis, seems like a great guy, great actor, right? Ted Lasso is a kind of pseudo feel-good comedy series about an American high school football coach from Kansas,
soccer,
who goes over to football, and then goes over to England,
American rugby,
to become a soccer football coach of a team in the Premier League, the highest league. And he gets unraveled and embroiled in the local community in England, where, of course, soccer means so much to them. But he is the most optimistic, most positive man in all of existence, in every character, goddamn fiber of any character I've ever seen. And that show makes you feel good. Like, it gives you hope that things will be all right. Honestly, it is a show essentially built around sports, but there's not really anything in it. But it's just a lot about character interaction with this one optimistic man from Kansas who just downright is a lovable character.
How can you be optimistic and also from Kansas?
Well, he is, and I don't know because I'm not from America, therefore don't really understand Kansas stereotypes.
Nothing's cornier than Kansas.
But I've got to say, Ted Lasso surprised the shit out of me because, one, I thought it was going to be super cringy because it's about soccer and, you know, that shit is hard to pull off to Brits. But it is so positive. It is so overwhelmingly feel good. And it really gives you like a big smile and almost a tear in the eye after every little episode because it really is quite a positive thing. And I think if you're looking for something that is more upbeat, is a bit more positive compared to, you know, the world right now and all the things that are going on. It's very good. It's very highly reviewed. Jason Sudeikis is fantastic in it, and Ted Lasso literally feels like a real person. Like, he could easily cheer you up on any day. I'm loving it. I haven't finished yet. I've watched 6 episodes of it. I think it's brilliant. I really am enjoying it. And it makes me feel really happy, like optimistic. It just does.
Yeah.
I enjoy listening to him. He's a fish out of water. You know, it's that stereotypical fish out of water story where he hasn't got a clue what's going on in the UK, but it's really good and really well acted. So if you want something that is more light and feel good, almost like a slice of life anime, I highly recommend Ted Lasso. I'm really enjoying it. You don't really have to give a shit about sports, like, at all. It's good. Good shit. That's it.
Damn.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
Ted Lasso.
And it was filmed entirely during COVID. Fair play to them. They did a good job.
Oh, damn. No mask.
It's very odd. But you can see because it's very tiny sets, very close sets. It's a hell of a time, though. I really enjoyed it. It's makes you feel good, man. Smells like potential.
I want to ask you something, Liam.
Yes.
I'll move on to games here.
Ooh.
When does Persona 3 get good?
When you turn it on?
No. Like, Persona 4 and 5, like, there's, like, urgency. There's a reason why you're going in the dungeon. There's something there's a story unraveling. In 3, at least in the first part, there's nothing happening. You got to go up the tower just because. And then there's like, you see like the sunken people around, and supposedly you fixed it. But like, that's pretty much it. There's like, and that's like into the game. Like nothing's...
You gotta remember, right? Persona 3 is like this bridging gap between like the Shin Megami Tensei series, right? And the first 2 Persona games, which were really bollock hard and kind of similar to what Shin Megami Tensei was going for. It didn't really have this whole dating sim bit. Yeah, it didn't have like this, the extra flavor that the Persona games get known for now, right? You can't have a Persona game without all the extra social link stuff. But this was like that first time, that first experimentation with it. So I think if you go backwards from 5 and 4, you're going to have maybe a harder time liking Persona 3 than you would if you just played it.
Had to be there.
Almost like you had to be there. It's a different game for sure, I think.
But, so what you're saying, there's no like engrossing story. It's just kind of plain compared.
There is. I don't know where you're at, but there is. It's more of like a mystery than it is like a straight up like character story. You know, Persona 4, it's about the characters and then it gets to the mystery. Persona 5 is like about the villains and then becomes about the characters and stuff. It's kind of a mix. Whereas 3 is definitely about what the mystery is and not necessarily what the team characters are. They have great characters like Mitsuri and like, what's his name? Boxer dude, Yusuke, right? And then you got Junpei, really great characters, but it's definitely more about the mystery, and you only really get into the mystery like literally like 30 hours into the game.
That's what I'm saying.
Really got into the
Tartarus. Like, what am I doing here? Like there's nothing going on.
What was the number?
Like it's got to be at least 30 hours when you really start.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm with George.
I thought
here for
I misheard you.
Yeah, I know. I'm not defending it. I'm not defending it.
You said it was your favorite one. I was like, Liam, it's your favorite one.
Look,
it's a silly internet meme joke to say a game gets good 13 hours in.
Good.
Look,
30 hours.
Whoa. It gets good from a story standpoint 30 hours in. I think the game is good from the beginning because 1, I like the combat system. 2, I think the music's dope.
The music is dope.
3, I like the visual style in that game. I like the blue and the greens, and I love the invoker. Like the way you summon personas in that game is the sickest.
It's probably the best.
The sickest shit. Shooting your head off, dude. Fucking is dope.
I still remember that when I was in high school. I was watching that, and that's what I remember.
And like
Persona 3 as.
It's the first Persona game I played. So
game.
I have like a special a soft spot for it, right? I was going to say hot spot, but especially as I remember when I played it, it was my first year of university, and in the month where I just moved into my university house, and I had a month before my lectures started, my classes started, and I just played the Beatles Rock Band and Persona 3 the entire month, and I had a great ass time. It was awesome, and it was like a game I'd not really played before. I'd never played the Shin Megami Tensei games. I'd never really played like kind of let's say Final Fantasy style JRPGs, right? Like we'd all played very similar JRPGs, let's say Squaresoft and Square Enix style JRPGs, right? This was like one of the first ones I'd played that was different. And I thought it was dope. I understand why, like now people who love the Persona series, who maybe started after Persona 4 Golden came out, going to 5 and seeing all the quality of life improvements and seeing how much, especially in Persona 5, how much they took what people loved regarding the social links and like the actual teenage characters. And then in 5, they're like, all right, well, we're going to go like full on 60 hours dungeon, 60 hours social links. And it's literally like 2 entirely different games, right? But Persona 3 is definitely more about the mystery of the story. And I've got to admit, it's probably not that good of a mystery. It's full of betrayal and reveal and stuff.
I'm stopping. No, there's no way I'm sneaking that many hours in. Oh my God. I want it. I was like, in the beginning, you're like, ooh, intrigue. Oh, I wonder who's bad and who's good. And then it just kind of falls off. And I was just like, what happened? What happened to all the little anime cutscenes and stuff? And it's not that it gets terrible, but 4 is better in a way, and 5, of course. 5 is, of course, better. Is good as well. Because, like, when there's a day off, there's something to do. There's people blowing up your phone. There's always something. In this game, like, it's more on the side of grinding. And Persona is grinding in general, but, like, it doesn't feel too much like grinding for stats, and because there's always people to hang out with. There's always other side stuff. There's repeating dialogue in this one. There's a lot of things that are not up to the quality that they have now, which I'm not going to say is huge for Persona games, but it's definitely pretty up there with 4. When I beat 4, I was like, holy shit, this is why people like this game. And it makes me want to play Royal, but it's not on fucking PC. I want to play fucking Royal. I'm going to buy it on PS4. I'm just going to buy it. I can't wait.
What are you playing 3 on?
Emulator.
Okay.
Emulator, yeah, because like there's 2 versions. There's the FES and there's the FES.
Yeah, that's the better one.
Yeah, and then
that has
the
more
P3P.
story.
Yeah, there's a P3P, which is like a visual novel type thing, but it has some like really good like.
Is that the PSP one?
Yeah, it's the PSP one. Persona 3 portable.
It's a remake of.
Yeah, and you have like a different route, like a female route, and
you have that in. Oh yeah. Not the robot girl.
And you can control your other teammates. In this one, in Persona 3, you can't control your teammates. You could only give them like, you can attack this specific target, or you can heal.
Yeah.
Like
it's different, man.
It's rough, dude. I'm not gonna say it's bad.
Different, dude.
It's not bad. It's just beginning phases type shit. You know, it's just like, they haven't figured it out yet. 4 is when they figured it out, and then 5 was like full blown, like, whoa, yeah.
There are a reason why, right? I look at the Persona series and like the Yakuza series to be almost like identical in how it took one game that made changes that may help Western people get into these games, and then all of a sudden people retroactively go backwards and play the games, and they're like, "Oh, okay,
wait,
yeah."
Was it 7?
But there is a reason why people didn't like. No, it was 0. Yakuza
0. Okay, yeah, 0 was pretty good. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like as soon as 0 came out, right? There were people who liked the series, but same with Persona, right? But it wasn't until like a specific game that had like quality of life improvements and was maybe less resistant. You know, a lot of Western people played Persona games since like Persona 1, right? But in terms of the large scale mass, right? We consider Yakuza and also Persona to be AAA series now, right? So those quality of life improvements definitely go a long way to helping people just continue to stick with the game. Persona 3 doesn't really have any of those and can be brutal. I played all the way through Persona 3 on hard mode, got to the last boss and couldn't do it with a friend. And
hard mode? Oh no.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was like 140 hours.
No.
Dumb.
No.
University students, man, they got too much time on their hands. Should be studying instead of grinding. In Persona 3.
Oh, so you guys swap grinding out and then play the story together?
Pretty much. I mean, he did most of the work, to be honest. I just kind of watched and was like,
Bringing up the social links.
Yeah. That music's so good, though.
Oh my God. It has like this like weird
so good
rap tone to it, like with lo-fi.
It is very lo-fi hip-hop-y, for sure.
Yeah, it's quite nice. It's like if Nujabes did it or something.
It is a little like that, yeah, for sure. It is a little up that alley. It's like Tokyo hip-hop, for sure.
Stretching the voices and stuff like that to make them sound like deep. I think they're Japanese people making it's not black people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're samples mostly. I think the voices are samples, but yeah, Japanese DJs, I think.
Oh, DJ.
George, did you play Persona 3?
No.
Oh, no.
I gotta guess that. Where he bought Persona 4 for me, and he hasn't played it. He bought it for me.
I did play it.
He bought it for me.
I played it for like 15 hours.
That is a lot of time, to be fair.
Yeah.
And back in the day, everyone was also always trying to get me to play Persona 3 too, and it still
really
sort of was the same situation.
No, that's not
Dude,
the game
I've
for you.
always
For
been
sure.
friends with Persona fans.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I think you'd have a real tough time.
With 3, yeah. 4, you could get through 4, but it's a long game for you.
Well, this was back before those games were out. Persona 3 was the gold standard of the time. Everyone was telling me to always play through Persona 3 up until midway through Persona 4's lifespan. And then around the time Persona 5 came out, I'd ask the question of, I don't know, guys, the Persona series seems really long and intimidating. Should I still be starting with 3? Around the time 5 came out is when people were like, nah, you don't got to go back to 3.
Yeah, because
You don't. Yeah. I love it, but you don't. And I wouldn't play it again. I would watch someone play it for an hour, and I'd be like, yep.
Yeah.
Stay where you belong in my memories.
I think I got my investment in. I'll chalk it up a wasted time for the podcast. I'll chalk it up because I don't think I'm going to go through that. Because like that, if that's what it is, then... Because I was like, oh, okay, once I beat the first boss, that's when it gets there. Nope. It was just, oh, I guess we did it. And I was just like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, I don't know, before it, man, yeah. It really made me want to play Persona again. It's that hole, that RPG hole. I can never fill it. Guys. Every time I look on Steam, I see shitty games everywhere.
Did you guys talk about Nier Replicant last week? Is either of you playing that, or are we just passed? Okay. Well, I did.
Why aren't you playing it, George?
I mean, would you call it an RPG? It could be a Matt game. I feel like Matt might like it.
No, probably not. I don't need to see girls in bikinis and shit.
No, Nier Replicant's not a girl in bikini game. It's
yes, it is.
I don't know about that.
Man in a wasteland game.
I'm pretty sure it is. I watched a video of a guy like constantly putting the camera down.
Oh, you're talking about Kaine, yeah. Yeah, no, Kaine's pretty gratuitous. But
I wouldn't go that far.
Like you're playing as her throughout the whole game, like in Automata.
Well, everybody will be happy to know I'm playing that right now, and I definitely won't finish it, but I'm having a good time.
Okay, so what did they change? Because when I saw the trailers, like, I thought it would look fancier.
My only, Nier experience, of course, Automata, like everybody else, right? But I never played the original Nier. But I did, however, stare at that box art of Daddy Nier.
Yes.
When I worked in a game store.
Daddy Nier.
Daddy Nier. 2 years. I worked in a game store while I was in university, and I would stare at that box art because I was fascinated by that box art of Daddy Nier, like the European box art version of that game. And I was like, I would look at the back of it and I'd be like, what is this game? And I never purchased it and never bought it. It kind of looked like a generic Xbox 360 action game of the time, right?
Yeah.
You could never have told me what Nier is and what happens in it, and I would have believed you based on that box art, because I just would stare and be like, wow, generic muscular action dude with swords, looks kind of boring. But I remember the box art so clearly because it just looks so generically boring to me at the time. But I was fascinated by it, but I never played it. I remember a bit of Drakengard back in the day, but
that is a very familiar story. Like, the game was kind of a sleeper hit that didn't get much promotion and took a lot of people by surprise who did not know about the previous Yoko Taro games either. That's a story that you do hear a lot. Like, oh, just some weird budget game I ended up with that turned out to have a crazy twist third act.
Who would have known, right?
And then you put a sexy girl on the cover, and you play as a sexy girl in the game, and all of a sudden it sells like wildfire. That tells you.
But then you add a really good story on top of it, and
there's also the reputation they got from the cult classic Nier. And
hold on, a really good story? Are we really?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what Nier is famous for. Was like the gameplay sucked, but the story was what you were playing it for.
I played it and I didn't want to play as 2B for the second run. Yeah, okay.
Also, it has combat by Platinum Games, so for me, it's like hey, how can
that
this?
was the big weak point with the PS3 version. Like the frame rate and the combat in these Yoko Taro games, I feel like that's always kind of a wall. But at least it's better this time.
It's okay. It's okay. It's no Nier Automata. It's okay. I hate the camera in Nier Replicant. I hate even more. Fuck you, whoever designed the fucking menu in Nier Replicant, because whatever the hell you're talking about with your like X-Force horizontal plane for your camera, fuck you. Fuck what? You. It's so dumb. What? There's like 8 different settings for moving the camera and all like the camera readjusting itself, but none of it is labeled correctly. It's so dumb and so annoying because the camera is garbage, to be frank. It's garbage in that game. I don't like it at all. But I'm having an alright time so far. It's fine.
I need to give me a refresher. Why was Auto Tomato good in story?
For having non-diegetic elements where like your saves matter, your deaths matter, your replays were part of the story. It plays with the tropes.
Different endings.
And that's why I think you might like Nier, is that it does kind of bait and... everyone knows at this point that Nier baits and switches you into twists.
Yeah, you think it's going to be something, and then turns out to be something entirely different.
But the story is delivered with like a really, really solid dose of humanity, of characters who have honest, genuine reactions to the crazy stuff that's going on through the game. And the crazy stuff going on through the game is a nice melancholy lesson about the fragility of the human condition. I think Matt would like it if he gave it an earnest shot.
If Auto Tomato was just all right to me, I doubt that I would like Nier, which is the inferior version. Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't think it is as good as Nier Automata yet. And I've only played like 10 hours, but
it has a different atmosphere. I think it could be said that it's up to preference if one might find Nier the original the comfier game. Because like Nier Automata I found Nier Automata a lot more depressing and nihilistic and existential, and the environments in Automata are so cold and metallic, and in Nier you have comfy medieval villages with comfy taverns with like cute music playing in the background, and that is a feeling Automata won't give you.
Yeah.
I just want a good RPG. They don't exist anymore. I've played them all. I've played all the Metroidvania. I've played all the RPG. Like, I'm done. I'm fresh out.
You've completed games, Matt. You're the first gamer to ever complete games.
That sounds sad because it almost sounds really, really real.
I just want to say, Matt, JRPG.mo has declared Nier Automata as the best JRPG ever created. Yes, according to JRPG.moe, the Nier series counts.
I don't know about that.
Maybe you should go all the way back to the beginning, Matt.
I don't know. Yakuza 7 exists, man. Yakuza 7 exists. And I wouldn't say it's the best story, but it definitely has some good feeling in it, which I don't get from Japanese games. I barely get from Japanese games.
Usually.
Yeah, usually. Yes. Usually it's very tropey. You gotta save the world. Really? Like, it's just like, it's the same shit every fucking time. Let me tell you, playing some of these old games that people have nostalgia for on the emulator, it's the same shit.
Are you turning into George?
Maybe.
Are you turning into Phil Fish?
Nothing satisfies me anymore, George.
Yeah.
He's insatiable.
You know what I've been playing? Super Mario RPG. I had to go back to Super Mario RPG.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Hello, fellow old man.
Yes. Hello.
Would you like to talk about a what is it? 90? That was like 93, 94, maybe. All right. So going to 2014, 17-year-old No, 20. Oh, that game. I love this. Let's talk about old games.
It's fun, and it's definitely gonna be short. It's just like a goofy ass game. I wish they made another one like this. I think the Mario and Luigi series, the Super
sure
Saga,
not the only one.
is kind of like this, right? The Super Saga shits are like this.
Kinda. It does not satisfy the infamously hungry Paper Mario fan base, though. Like, those are some of the craziest people on the internet.
Yeah, which is so odd, but okay, fair enough.
But they are very, very unique games that don't have a lot of other things out there like them. And I think the best thing about them is that they wear that goofiness on their sleeve. Like, they're super aware that they're a silly Mario video game where everyone's made out of paper for no reason.
Maybe I should play Paper Mario. I should try those games, those older ones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, Paper Mario is kind of sort of the natural follow-up to Mario RPG. Yeah.
I know I played the first one back when I broke my foot. So maybe I'll start with the second one and then move up.
They are kind of lumped together in my mind as one series in a way.
Yeah. I mean, Mario RPG is great, man. Like it's great.
It's also one of like the best looking games on the SNES, I think.
Yeah, I put a little filter on it.
It is beautiful.
I put a little what was that, the ZBRZ filter?
Now that we have 4K Ultra HD monitors to emulate the effects of old 30-year-old monitors.
So it looks like a painting, which is great. I always like playing old games on my painting filter. But yeah, it's good. It's goofy and
you're not doing okay.
Yeah.
You're one of the Psy boys.
Psy boys.
The 2 times Psy filters that I do like that style. It depends on the game.
Yeah, for sure. Like some games it just looks pixelated when you try to blow it up on your screen. So having that kind of blends it together. But yeah, it's good. It's good. There's not much to say about it. I mean, people have played it before. It's a Mario game where you're in an RPG and he explains stuff by making motions with his hands and floats up
Body
in the air
language.
and turns into people. And like, it's just wacky constantly.
And Toad rips the shit out of you for it sometimes.
Yeah, it's
like, you have a little sarcastic little Toad friend.
There's mini games after like every big stage and stuff where there's actually platforming and there's no random battles. You actually have to fight people that you see inside the stage. It's quite cool. It's like a Bastion type style levels where you just see like the area and then you have little enemies running around and they try to get you by hiding in bushes and shit. Yeah, like it's dope. There's blocks that you can get treasures from, coin blocks and everything. Like it's a Super Mario game, but an RPG. It's dope. It's dope, and some good ass music.
Also, honest advertisement.
And some good ass music. Yeah, like it's dope. It's kiddie.
You get what it's named.
Definitely kiddie, but it's good. It's good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's been satisfying some type of itch, but I'm gonna dive into some of the games that are coming out this month.
One of those maybe Resident Evil Village.
Yeah, that's coming out,
which had
Friday.
Its demo released on all of the platforms.
I've pretty much ignored everything about that game.
Yeah.
Tell us about the demo, George.
Yeah, is that for a lack of interest or because you don't want to spoil?
Kind of, yeah, kind of actually,
Really?
kind of.
What did you think of
I
7?
don't give a shit about Lady Demetrius or Demetriou.
Oh, I didn't until I played the demo.
Oh, George is a believer. Stomp on me, baby.
Dude, this game's full of fun bullshit. It's the cutest creepy castle I've ever seen. The characters, they like have this exaggerated style that, like with Lady Dimitrescu, just gives people a weird anatomy that exaggerates their physical features. There's a fun cackling old lady narrating your trip through the demo. The merchant, if you thought the RE4 merchant was fun, you just wait until you see this merchant. He looks like the penguin.
Can live up to the reputation of what are you buying?
He's this huge fat, obese Victorian man. He doesn't say, "What are you buying?" But when you close his menu, he says something just as good. And
what does he say? Tell me.
Have fun on your adventure.
Okay, that's pretty good. Have fun on your adventure.
The castle is beautiful. The characters are beautiful in their own weird way. They're fun. There's this campy atmosphere of fun throughout the whole demo that I was genuinely impressed by, and kind of sort of not necessarily expecting by how depressing and industrial and grimy the environmental artwork was in RE7. But in RE Village, like, it looks like a Souls game from the first person. Like, they are exaggerating what is supposed to be a Romanian-style village with an old classic castle in front of it, and every single building is huge and just covered in the architectural style details that exaggerate how Western this place looks to its Japanese developers. But the writing also is still, I don't think it's up to the level that it was in RE7, but it still does feel like a way higher bar than the rest of the series by the classic standards.
Is it scary?
No. It's more like 4, actually.
It's quite comical then.
Yeah.
Campy
they
comical.
are wearing the camp on their sleeve at this point, and I am loving what they're doing with the Resident Evil these days.
I'm okay with that. I can dig that.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun scenes, and they like introduce characters that kind of play with your expectations, that make you think they're going to be major characters, but I don't know, maybe you'll find out that the game's not shy about killing off a lot of named characters really early on.
Do you like Lady Demetrius Atreyu?
I do. I did not care so much from seeing it in still images, but the thing is, when you see her in motion, she has really fun body language. Like, she has to bend down to squeeze through doors, and she has hot sisters who chase. Okay, so it's super duper horny, and it's like funny about that. Like, the characters will actively giggle at the sex noises they're making as they're chasing you, and I'm just getting the vibe that they know. Everything that I saw here looked like they're setting up for a real fun adventure. Yeah, I mean, writing may not be as high as RE7 points, but the other ones I think were. The combat was interesting. I don't think the monster design actually was up to RE7 either. The zombies that you find in RE7, they almost look like regenerators. The very first one is a giant, oily humanoid with this disgusting smile carved in.
I was kind of disappointed by them. They just were like black messes. Like, kind of like the oily mess.
Oh, well, keep in mind, I also played it in VR, and that probably made everything look scarier then. The enemies in Resident Evil Village, in the vein of it taking some inspiration from Dark Souls, they do look like Dark Souls enemies. Like, they're hairy, buff zombies in medieval garb. They look very strange for a Resident Evil game. They don't look like slimy, dripping mucus mutants. They look like undead. I'm wondering what that's about. So yeah, it's a less scary, more campy flavor of RE that is following up on a lot of the same vibes and motif and gameplay of 7, and it felt fun, but most of all, I think it is the atmosphere and the characters and
I'm surprised you played it.
Yeah, well, you played the RE2 demo, didn't you?
I played RE3. The RE demos have been good. The only thing wrong with the RE demos
is
are
the
these
stupid
timers and the online requirements. Yeah, the RE7 demos were fantastic. Like, they convinced me to buy a VR headset with PSVR when Resident Evil 7 had that. The RE2 demo, I played through twice. I made a new account. The RE3 demo was less impressive. That's kind of why I skipped that game in addition to the reviews. But the RE Village demo, REVII, I even like the game's name. I would rather them call it Resident Evil Village than Resident Evil 8. Like, that's a name that does not have an embarrassingly large number of video game sequels at the end of it. It also sounds about as stupid as the series is supposed to be. Resident Evil Village, it's a little redundant. It's I guess this time there's going to be a lot of evil residents. Whatever, but then they slowly fade in the VII, and you're just like, Oh, yeah, there is some cleverness to this after all. As stupid as it is, they did actually think really hard to come up with the pun. And that's why I love the atmosphere and the art and the characters of it so much. Like, it's excellent camp. It is delicious cheese. It is,
Are you going to purchase it?
Yeah. I mean, it might take me, a while compared to other people. I might wait for a sale or whatnot, but I was impressed by the demo. If the reviews do not get up there, I'm gonna wait longer. But it was, of all the good Resident Evil demos they've been putting out, I do think this is one of the better ones.
How is the shooting and stuff?
Nah. Yeah, so also the other thing is that I was playing RE7 on PlayStation, where you have to use an analog stick to aim, or with the VR, use your face to aim. But I was playing on PC, so the other thing I think about the monsters being less intimidating is that it was easier for me to headshot them in this one. It's horror game combat. It's way scarier up until you're actually looking at the monster in the surprisingly bright environments that you get in the village, at least. The castle is nice and dark and moody.
There's a VR mode 4.8.
Not yet, I think. No. I don't think they've made any announcements about that, and I've definitely tried to search because I am looking forward to that. And that is actually one of the reasons I will be waiting longer than everyone else, is to see if, as this new VR platform Sony is pushing out, if as the months roll down the road, we might see some announcement and some big trailer reveal where they're like, and now launching with PSVR 2 is Resident Evil Village VR. Because I would want my first impressions to be in VR.
I just want it to be like 7. That's all I want. If it's like 7... then I'm good to go.
I love 7. It made me want to replay 7. God, it made me realize that 7 is, like, I think one of my favorite games of the past few years. Absolutely.
It's fucking fun. It's fucking fun. It reminds me of when I way back in the day, Outlast had that same, like, weirdness to it. Just goofy ass horror. I love goofy horror. I love it.
This is goofy horror. This is definitely... That's what Lady Dimitrescu is. She's a hot vampire. She's a hot, horny vampire ready to mingle. Who's gonna kill you? That is goofy, campy fun. They know. They having so much fun putting these together by the looks of it.
And 7, it's ridiculous. All right, I'll just say this part. This might be a little bit spoiler, so just skip ahead like a minute. When you're fighting a guy in the garage and he's just getting inside the car, like, that's just fucking ridiculous. And I always will remember that. It was like one of the best moments in video games ever.
I remember how impressed I was that there was a line of writing in a Resident Evil game that I was genuinely impressed by. And it's when the teenage son gets his hand chopped off at the dinner table and you hear him go, "Oh, dang it, Dad, not again." Like, that's 4 words that imply a hilarious amount of black comedy going on in just like 4 words. Like, "Damn it, Dad, not again." There's those 4 words say so much. It is good writing up until you get to the metal corridors at the end. But anyways.
The end was a little bit weird.
No, it seems like a good, honest follow-up. Like less scary, more silly, but still the same flavor of campy, cheesy fun. I also played Sairento VR. That is what I picked up the Humble VR Spring Bundle for. It is a game where you play as a sexy ninja who jumps through the air in slow motion, does backflips off of walls.
Always those damn sexy ninjas.
And shoots people with 2 guns instead of 1, because having 1 gun is never enough. You can dual wield your swords if you want, because having 2 swords is cool. Right, kids?
Yep. It is cool.
Sairento VR is a game where you have a very, very slow walking speed in VR, because I guess they don't want you to get too nauseous. But once you jump in the air, your character fucking goes, and it's crazy seeing the sense of speed and elevation that you get. You point your VR controller at a wall, hold down a button, cast a teleporter out there, and then your character will start floating in the air towards your destination while everything else in the game goes in slow motion. And while you're in the air, you can stretch your arms up and she will do a flip, and you will actually like see the environment completely rotate around 360 degrees on the y-axis which also gives you a ample amount of bullet time with which to blast people while your character is flipping through the air in upside down flips. So then you crouch down with your VR headset, and that makes your character set up herself up for a slide, where you're then sliding through the air in slow motion, blasting people with 2 guns, and then whipping a sword out from your shoulder to get the last guy when you run out of ammo. And then all of a sudden you remember you're playing on the Valve Index, where a very important button is the same part of hand you're using to hold the controller, and suddenly your character's guns teleport away back into their pockets in the middle of the fight.
So, good then. Like a real ninja.
It's a good game that reminds me that the Valve Index controllers have a very inconvenient placement of that grip button. This is a game like similar to Walking Dead, and a little bit of the problems I was having with Pavlov, where I am accidentally dropping my equipment mid-game. After my Valve Index video, a fan sent me a link to some peripherals. Some companies sell these things that are foam booster pads that make the grip bigger and thicker, and it's supposed to make it a little more easier on your fingers to tell whether or not you're pressing this thing. And even that's not enough! I think what I'm going to have to do is set up a Steam controller configuration that will, lower the sensitivity of this thing. Like, if I'm registering a button press, I want to know I'm doing it, and I'm doing it accidentally so many times with these controllers. But yeah, other than that, like, Sairento VR is a super cool proof of concept with very low production values that was clearly made on a very tight budget with not very impressive environmental assets. But the combat is absolutely a blast. It's a wonderful experience to see what these flips and wall runs look like from the first person perspective, and it feels really. Are
they vomit inducing though?
I was surprised. I was really, really surprised.
I think at this point you're immune, though.
Well, I also think that they blur the shit out of your vision when you're in the air in this game, and that might have something to do with it. There were a lot of accessibility options that I ticked off, and it still blurs the shit out of your vision when you move through the air. And I do wonder how they came up with this scheme. Your character walks on the ground low, but they fly through the air fast. And a lot of players have not complained, have like, in the user reviews, have like mentioned how they would have expected to be more nauseous than they ended up getting from this game.
Huh.
So yeah, if you have some little bit of money to throw around on VR, I'd definitely like pick this up as a fun time. It's not a killer app system seller. It's not a high quality immersive experience so much as it is a fantasy fulfillment. Really fun fantasy fulfillment.
It does seem fun.
Stress relief. It's good stress relief.
It does seem fun, but also vomit inducing. Looking at videos of it, orientation looks difficult.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps that they make you go through to make sure that your character is the right height, that your waist and shoulders are in the right place. If you don't have that stuff set up, you see a lot of weird things happen because of how mobile your character is in that game compared to how stationary your actual body is going to be. You wave your arms up in the air, and the body on your VR headset is doing all sorts of crazy flips just from that. But somehow it makes sense. Like, somehow, some way, raising your arms in the air kind of sort of primes the rest of your body to, like, move on the y-axis. Nice. I'm rocking back and forth in the chair to demonstrate it. Like, it weirdly does make sense in your brain. It clicked faster than I was expecting it to.
That's
good. Yeah. Good stress relief for feeling stressed and shitty about living in the shitty future, which is the panic attack that Umurangi Generation gave me. So this is a game.
Man, people really like this game, right?
Yeah, it did show up on a lot of Game of the Year 2020 lists.
Old boy Nitro Dad really liked it as well.
I think it's more for the mood and the vibe and the art of the experience than how fun this thing is going to be in your hands. This is a work of goddamn art that I enjoyed on the basis that I am one who believes that video games do not necessarily have to be fun, that interactive experiences do not necessarily have to be fun to convey their message, and that maybe calling these things video games this whole time might have been a horrible mistake as the decades have moved on. So but still in the syntax of the language of the system we live in, Umurangi Generation is a first-person shooter photography game. You are kind of sort of doing the walking simulator gone home thing of walking through levels to put together an environmental storytelling, but what the photography mechanic does is requires you to take pictures of things and scores you on things, but that also kind of requires you to digest the environmental storytelling they're trying to tell. It's very, very clever. You load into very small, tight, compact, Tony Hawk style levels that are just going to be like 3 rooms or one small rooftop park. And you have 10 minutes to complete a list of objectives, like in a Tony Hawk game. Some cool trip hop lo-fi music will play in the background as you take pictures of your cool friends doing cool skate tricks in front of the graffiti at the edgy part of town. And then all of a sudden you'll hear a rumble and see a formation of fighter jets flying low underneath you. You might accidentally, because the world of Umurangi Generation is at the cusp of an existential crisis that's threatening the planet. And you might notice that there's a lot of weird things scattered across the environment. And if you try to take a picture of them, you're going to get penalized for it. There is evidence of the crisis facing the world in Umurangi Generation strewn all about the levels. And if you accidentally take a picture of it, they deduct some money from your account. And that's a kind of joke that I feel would only really work in the video game. You accidentally pan something into your camera that shouldn't be there, take a picture of it, hear a blare go, and then you see negative $4 from your salary at the end of your photo journalism career day. And that shows that there's a lot of problems existing in this world that people are willingly trying to either ignore or cover up. It's not necessarily like they're censoring it so much as they just don't pay you for taking pictures of the most important things. Man, this game made me feel like shit. A lot of the objectives that you have to complete will require you to angle yourself in these tight, crowded levels in clever ways and use lenses that might be zoomed in too far for the objective that you're looking at. Sometimes the objectives are worded in ways that play with your expectations and your wordplay. Like you'll see a item on your checklist that says, take a picture of Sharky. And you're wondering, like, what's Sharky? And eventually you'll find like a mortar that has a shark painted on it. And you take a picture of it and it just happens to be Sharky. And
does it have that kind of thing though, that if you'd found something else that looked like a shark, it would have also counted?
Yep. Yeah. You
cool.
can.
Some diegetic stuff then.
An objective is take a picture of the word cops, and that includes graffiti that says "fuck the cops." So just so long as the word's there are multiple different ways to complete the objectives, and the game has a nonlinear playstyle that tries to posit the cause that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you can take pictures of whatever you want and still consider it art. The playstyle reinforces this. Depending on your personality, you're either going to be pausing the game a lot and going down the checklist, or just running through the levels, taking pictures of everything interesting and going down the checklist organically. And because of the little bit of time pressure that you get from that 10-minute time limit, it feels like either playstyle is going to be both valid and also active and engaging. However, as it turns out, you don't have to meet the 10-minute time limit. You're just kind of lightly penalized for a scoring system that doesn't ultimately matter, but just having a timer in the corner does something to your brain that makes you feel like you're actively being challenged against something. So I have to wonder...
You gotta rush.
Right, it does kind of subtly influence you into rushing things. If games like Gone Home or The Stanley Parable... What was the one the Chinese room did on the Source engine where you walk down the beach? Dear Esther, if they had a little timer in the corner, would the gamers have shut up then?
I don't know. Timers tend to usually put gamers off, to be honest. Timers never really go down well in video games. Data tends to show. Like, it's too stressful. Gamers don't really like it. Depends on the game, but...
It definitely stresses you in Umurangi Generation.
Especially with something like photography, where you would think that would be like the antithesis of what you'd want out of a game about photography.
No, the idea is photojournalism. Like you're supposed to be taking pictures of news and delivering it
like
to a newspaper
in an event
that has to put it out the next day. Yeah. Because it also is about the crisis that the universe is facing here. And the game does a lot of really clever things to make that feel alive and real. Like you'll revisit some levels, but they'll be a little more decayed as the game goes on. Yeah, it's really good and also really short. HowLongToBeat.com said it's 3 hours, but it took me 5 to 6 because I guess I like to smell the roses. A beautiful work that evokes the anxiety of the Trump years. You have this game about making art whose main primary characters are like cool skater kids wearing cool clothes, doing cool skater tricks. They are engaging in performative coolness, while every now and then the level will give you a harsh cut to a real bloody tragedy that is going to traumatize these kids for the rest of their lives. The main point of reference is Neon Genesis Evangelion. It was developed in 2019. Yeah, it is. that is totally Neon Genesis Evangelion, right? It was made in 2019. It got popular in 2020, and now that it's 2021, everything has gone so fast that it already feels like a dated representation of a certain period in history that is probably going to be remembered as a kind of artifact representing that.
I wonder if Matt will like it, because supposedly the photography is...
I don't think Matt would like
it. but supposedly the photography is pretty true to... I know literally zero about photography. But
I'm thinking about it.
It's supposedly pretty... It's pretty on top of, if you have an interest in taking photos, like there's a lot of options. But I feel like that goes with this timer thing, that kind of...
It's not exactly going to ask you to play with the shutter speed and the f-stop. The camera settings more or less change the zoom and field of view of your first person view. But yeah, a lot of it is there. And the spirit of having to make artsy photographs is definitely there. You are graded better for taking better photographs, and the scoring system has an idea in mind of how composition and coloring work to make something look aesthetically pleasing. There is built-in gallery social media sharing functionality, so they do want you to share your photos too. They definitely do care, but I wouldn't call it like photography sim 2020.
Interesting. I literally know nothing about photography and have no interest whatsoever. I wonder whether this or Pokemon Snap has more true to life photography.
I feel like it might be more of a Liam game than a Matt game, in the sense that it reminded me of how A Short Hike felt like a developer honestly exploring parts of their psyche using lo-fi, low budget development tools. Yeah. Let's see, Ori Game Digital. I'm wondering if this is a one-person project, because in the credits,
I believe it is.
Did give the impression. Yeah, and like you can tell, just from screenshots, you can tell. It's a lot. That timer is there to make the environments feel less static than they really are. But yeah, like I was saying, on terms of like being a work of art, it does absolutely nail the abstract emotions it's going for.
Is it more like Beyond Good and Evil?
No.
Oh.
No, it's nothing like Beyond Good and Evil.
Oh, okay.
It's more like Quake 2 mods, like the Gravity Bone stuff. Gravity Bone had a section where you had to take a picture of some birds or something, right? It looks like a Quake 2 mod that plays very cleverly with first-person shooter game engine functionalities. I think a Brendan Chung game is probably the closest point of reference for what this is going to look and feel like in your hands.
I can see. I've watched a few videos on it, and I get that. Yeah. Interesting. Maybe I'll play it when it comes to Switch, because I know it's being worked on for Switch. So
I bet it would do well on Switch.
Yeah, but it seems like a good Switch game. Yeah, it seems like a good Switch game.
Mm-hmm. You play through it level by level, and every level will take you 10 to 20 minutes, so it is good pick up and put down experience.
Nice.
So yeah, I did get through a lot of stuff. Not my page of Mortal Kombat notes, but
we'll get to that one day.
But yeah, I played.
Can I before we quickly swap over? Can I just talk about my current addiction?
No, it's not Hunt Showdown, is it?
Neo Turf Masters.
Oh, golf.
You're back at it. You went back. You put your hands back in the jar.
Neo Turf Masters.
So why are you playing this almost 30-year-old Neo Geo game like at 4 a.m. with sausages?
I was playing it until 6 a.m. the other day.
Are you kidding me? Why?
It's
good.
The best golf game I've ever played. It's amazing. It's so
on the green.
It's on the green. It's so brilliant. It's so good. Fairway. Shot 5. It's brilliant. I love it. It's so challenging. It's an arcade game. So it did get ported to the Neo Geo, right? The home system and the CD. But it is an arcade game by nature. Therefore, it's like a quarter swallower. So it has this really steep learning curve that it doesn't want you to learn. But thankfully, because I'm playing it on a Nintendo Switch, I can cheat that shit and debug it so I can learn it.
Wait, Nintendo Switch? Wait, what? It's on this?
Yeah, it's on. It's part of the ACA Neo Geo collection stuff that you can buy now.
Okay.
Like you can buy Last Blade and you can buy, Garo, Mark of the Wolves, other great games by the SNK era of Neo Geo, right? This is a NASCAR game just before they got acquired by SNK. And if you look through the people who worked on this game, they are like legends of the Japanese game industry. People who worked on like R-Type, people who went on to work on just some incredible games like Platinum Games and stuff like that. And they worked on this dumbass golf game.
You can kind of see it.
Like the guy who made Metal Slug made this game. It's insane.
But it has beautiful pixel art and a sense of humor that is all about how wacky and muscular and angry these golfers are.
And it's really fucking hard. It's like really hard. It's really bloody hard. And it takes a while to figure it out. It gives you so much information, but you're not really what information leads into other bits of information. Like it very sneakily has like something called rest, yardage, in the top left corner in an unreadable font most of the time. It's white on a blue sky. But that is like the key information you need. Like you need to know how many yards are left.
You think they deliberately made it hard to read?
I don't know, but sometimes it's yellow and sometimes it's white and you just can't figure out why. And then you like look at what your club maximum can be and then you kind of you look at the rest, you look at the max, then you figure out what a percentage of that would be. And then you fight against the wind, and then you can hit it either straight or you can hit it low, so you like smack it towards the ground, or you can hit it high, so you can hit it over trees. And there's just a lot of like tactical analysis, and it's really fucking good. And it's got an amazing soundtrack that's just as bassy and bopping as hell. It's an awesome 2-player game.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really hard. And I've still only managed to cut my best score so far is 6 in a tournament. And I think I'm pretty good at the game now.
Some of my fondest memories of the before 4 times, when my life was more normal, was when I was going through the entire Neo Geo 25-year anniversary package with friends. They are all good multiplayer games.
Yeah, they're brilliant. And like Neo Turf Masters is no different. It cost me $8 on the Nintendo Switch store, and I've played at least 20 hours of it, just like in the bath, in my bed, on the sofa, watching YouTube. Like every time I just bust it out and play. It's great. I'm having a blast with it. And I should play more Nier, but then again, I've done something stupid. It's great. $8. And it's like the best golf game you'll ever play. If you fancy a real challenge, take up
golf,
the Neo Turf big tournament. And it has so many different settings in it. Different CRT settings and different like arcade settings. And it's brilliant.
Oh, really? The emulator they're packaging it with these days is good? Because that was a point of contention when I was going through these games. They were partnering with a pretty shitty emulator.
I'm not
partner.
really yeah, I mean it's okay. But like there's a lot of like that you can do the Japanese arcade release, so you can do the Western release, and they're different tournament.
God. Yeah, that is way past the level of the version I was playing.
It's pretty damn good. That's my addiction out of the way.
All was peaceful in the Mushroom Kingdom. Till Smithy the Sword shattered the sorrow. Wow! So with his old enemy Bowser and a marshmallow who throws lightning. Mario fought evil wedding cakes and a killer Venus flytraps and recovered the 7 stars!
Grandfather's freaky.
Super Mario RPG, only on the system that keeps on kicking. Super NES.
Dig it?
And with that, we're back.
I'm trying to legitimately not get too depressed about what we're in for here. The news this week is going to be the Epic lawsuit. This is the most scrutiny I feel that the government has put on the game industry since like the 90s when they were having the congressional hearings for the creation of the ESRB. Some of the evidence coming out from this lawsuit is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
So for clarification, these are not leaked documents. These are pieces of evidence that are being published on courthouse.gov websites in the interest of the public good, so that the public will know the line of reasoning into why these laws are going to change. What's going to be determined by this lawsuit is exactly what legally counts as a monopoly for the markets of downloadable software. As a refresher, this news story began in August of 2020 when Epic kind of sort of uploaded a unreviewed version of Fortnite that included an option for paying them directly rather than going through Apple's services as a middleman. Apple then removed Fortnite from their App Store. Less than an hour later, Apple got sued by Epic. They had the lawsuit ready to go. They had a publicity video ready to go where they started this free Fortnite campaign. In February, they started talking to judges about it, and at first the judge was saying some quotes that were not necessarily in Epic's favor, saying your client created this situation. Epic's argument is going to be trying to make the case that Apple is a monopoly because they are not facing the sort of situation where, quote, a meaningful number of developers would give up the iOS platform if Apple raises its price. We know that's not the case. There's not going to be a lot of love here for either of the two companies. It seems to be generally regarded as two oversized, self-interested corporations, definitely arguing over how the rules can change to better interest themselves. But if Apple wins, the status quo is currently going to be maintained. If Epic wins, there will be a lot more competition on digital marketplaces. So, yeah, pieces of evidence. Somehow the lawyers are going to make the case that a lot of these shocking documents that include numbers about how much Epic is paying developers are going to count as evidence in these lawsuits. We have a list of a lot of games, like 30 to 50 of them at a quick glance, that includes the buyout price Epic gave to the developer, the amount of new Epic accounts that subscribed in the short term following the giveaway of the game, and a division between the two that is supposed to calculate how much it cost Epic to gain the new subscribers. The biggest deal for them was Subnautica. They spent $1.4 million to get it and got almost 1 million new Epic accounts, 804,000. The cost of those gamers is calculated at $1.74. Subnautica getting $1.4 million sounds nice, but there are some other games on here that seem surprisingly low given the name recognition involved. Super Meat Boy apparently was given $50,000 and generated about 1/8 of the amount of new users that Subnautica did, but that was a lot less than 1/8 of the cost.
Wait, yeah. I mean, you're missing key info here, which is the UA cost was it was literally $0.50. That is exactly why they only paid $50,000, because they knew they wouldn't acquire that many users out of it, I guess. You're talking about what the value of a product is that's been out for 10 years on multiple different platforms. So
it makes sense that Super Meat Boy would not be as valuable as Subnautica. It does seem a little fishy that Super Meat Boy is like cheaper than a shitty condo.
It does, and it does if you look at it as what that 50,000 represents, right? For Epic, it brought in a lot of people for a really low user acquisition price, right? So that made a lot of sense from the Epic standpoint. They probably took the value judgment. It was
the best deal for Epic.
Yeah.
The worst deal for Epic was Celeste, which they spent a lot more than Super Meat Boy. They spent $750,000 and got a fraction. Oh, not a fraction. They got just over half of what Super Meat Boy brought in at $62,000.
At $12 UA, that is pretty expensive.
I'm also wondering what the deal is with For Honor's price being $63,000. Like, that is a expensive looking AAA game that does stick out from these cheaper looking indie games, and it's surprisingly lowball compared to something on the list here like Batman.
Which Batman was it though? Was it?
They say Arkham.
Is that Arkham Knight? Or I think it was Arkham Knight, right?
The whole series at a $1.5 million buyout and just under 614,000 new users.
It's a lot of money for a game that's been out a long time. But I guess it is a licensed franchise. That is a AAA game. It's not an indie game, so.
But For Honor is also a AAA game that
might be just Ubisoft throwing it out to try and get a second life on it, and then hope that that turns into user acquisition in Uplay. Because remember, anybody who signs up for that then has to go to Uplay as well, right? So they're also partially getting user acquisition out of that, probably.
Yeah, this is about user acquisitions. They're eating short-term losses to make long-term gains so that they can turn kids with the EGS installed on their computer into teenagers who will then have more disposable money to buy games with the EGS already installed on their computer. About 70% of the current users are doing it. 70% of users who have acquired a free game have made a purchase. The hope is that that number will increase in the future, but right now, it does seem like confirmation of the speculation and the assumption that it is a short-term loss for a long-term strategy. What I think is more shocking is how low some of these numbers are for some of these games on here. They're definitely not spreading it across equally.
It's value judgment. The UA acquisition, like this model, is the mobile model. This is how you do advertising for mobile games. It's all about user acquisition. How much does an advert cost versus how many users you get from that advert? It's UA acquisition. And, adverts on Facebook don't cost as much as they do on TikTok, for example, right? So it's like value judgment. It's essentially they're buying advertising. Each one of these games is buying advertising. And some games cost you a lot more money because they understandably will rein in a lot of new players and get user acquisition. And then others that are essentially games that wouldn't be purchased anyway, but get the opportunity to have a longer tail of their own. But of course, you're not going to be able to walk up to Epic and be like, hey, my indie game, I'll totally give you that for free if you give me $500,000. Epic are kind of going to probably look at what your most recent sales figures were. Well, you think about a lot of these games have had long tails already, right? Super Meat Boy. Epic most definitely look at how many games you've probably sold within the last quarter, if not half a year, if not financial year, and they probably forecast how many sales you're probably going to make over the next year. And then this price probably informs somewhere around that.
Well, it still speaks to like the always ever present problem that when a negotiation's going on, there's probably someone who's might not know the value that their labor is really worth.
I don't think in these deals that works like that. This is almost predominantly with big publishers. So, I mean, Arkham is Warner Brothers. Games like For Honor are gonna be Ubisoft. Subnautica are a big company.
Like, what about something like Tequila Workshops, who made Rime? Rime's on this list. They got $45,000 for the deal. And if you go to their website and look at the list of their teams, like, it's 50 people long. Like, if you spread that across the whole studio, that's less than $1,000 each.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not how paying people salary works, right?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I know it's not. What's probably going to happen is it's going to go to a little clique of head honchos who are going to avoid manual labor for themselves and their children.
That's separate to selling their IP to Epic. So, for example, we look at Rime on Steam right now. It has 2,700 reviews total, right? This is not a lot. If you do the math, quick math, it's what? 5% at the maximum of your total sales. So you're looking at what? 10, 20, I don't know. You're looking at maybe 200 to 300,000 sales total. And this was 4 years ago. So I imagine a lot of these deals take Epic ask for your financials, I imagine, from the past year, predict your forecasted sales across probably only Steam, because they don't care about Switch or anything like that, right? Sales on Switch are not going to affect sales on PC. So they probably look at what your forecasted sales on Steam are for the next however long you're an exclusive free game on Epic for, maybe, and then maybe 2 weeks or a month, and then probably just offer you somewhere around what they would forecast would be your predicted sales. And that's why Rime is never going to be anywhere near something like Celeste, because Celeste, of course, if you go to the, let's go to the Steam for Celeste, right? I think you're looking at probably maybe 10,000 more reviews than you would Rime. Celeste is on 32,000 reviews, right? So that is already 15 times more in terms of sales predicted than Rime. So I think a lot of these are probably just judgments based on whatever these companies are already earning financials on. So it doesn't surprise me that games like Subnautica, which are massive hits, especially considering wasn't the Subnautica one like their brand new version of the game? I'd be interested to see how much Troy cost. Troy is missing in this.
Yeah, they don't have 2020.
That would be the one I'd want to know, because that was a game that was on free on its launch day. I would really want to know how much that was.
And also they had GTA. They had GTA in 2022.
Yeah, I imagine that was at least a couple million for sure, because predicted sales.
The period here is 2018 and 19.
Okay.
So
yeah, you think of Celeste in 2018 was still a fairly new game. It was a hot shit at the time.
Well, Celeste wasn't one of the big heavy hitters for new Epic accounts on this list. It cost them the most compared to a lot of these other games.
Yes, but what I'm talking about is how much they paid for it. It is probably informed by Celeste being hot shit at the time, right? But you think of Celeste as a user acquisition game when a lot of people have already bought it on PC or on Switch and stuff. It's kind of a bit difficult. They're probably just buying the advertising, right? The clout to be able to say, well, we have free games like Celeste, which only came out, a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever it was in 2018.
What about Jackbox at 60K? That seems a little low for something with as much name recognition and currency as Jackbox.
Doesn't almost everybody have Jackbox, and you only need one user to have it, and everybody else can play for free off that user?
Is that how they get them?
I do that.
That's a little hard to sell.
My friend has it, puts it on the screen. We all sit there.
And then up to 8 people can play it, right?
Literally 8 people play. Yeah, a ton of people play.
Yeah, and you don't need to sign up to an Epic Games Store account to be able to play it. So, user acquisition on that is going to be low, right?
So what about this Rami Ismail tweet where he's saying in all caps, indies demand more money from corporations for your shit. What are some of these numbers? What even?
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at the user acquisition on stuff like Super Meat Boy, right? That's really good for Epic. Like, really good. Like, that's exceptional value judgment by Epic in that, right? They paid only $50,000 and they got 97,000. They got $50 for each user. That's insane. That's just nothing. The fact that Epic have only spent $11 million only on all of these games is pretty incredible. They must have spent at least $15 million on GTA 5 alone, right? It's pretty crazy. But, Celeste, of course, $12. The Celeste team getting $750K buyout. Like, that's really good for them.
Yeah, no, they fucked the man on their deal.
But the problem with, Rami's right, and I agree with him, Epic should pay more. But the problem is Epic are not going to pay more if the user acquisition costs more money than the predicted amount one single user is going to spend. So Epic will know integrally what the average user spend is per user, and if the UA total average is above average spend, then they're not going to buy these games. The fact that they're probably still doing it means that the average user spend, 11 million is nothing, right?
Yeah, this is a drop in the bucket compared to their 4.2 billion in revenue.
So it is a complete drop in the bucket, right? So they know that the average spend, so they know the average spend must be way higher than what the total average UA acquisition is, right? They should be. I mean, yeah, you should be paying more than 50k for Super Meat Boy and 50k for World of Goo, but these games are 10 years old, and it's going to be hard for the indie devs to sell that to Epic, right? Especially when you've been on every platform under the sun. Games like Rime, it's kind of hard with those ones because they're not exactly big. They're nothing like Celeste. They're not even in the same ballpark, right, of being a big hit. So that's kind of harder, I guess, for them to sell. It's probably it's interesting because I don't think Rime reviewed very well either, right? At the time it came out. I don't know, but it's weird. It's interesting to see because we all knew it was kind of to get user acquisition, but like UA is usually mobile stuff. Like you don't have user acquisition in console games selling because you have nothing to sell. You don't have an account you want people to sign up to. But in mobile, you do.
One thing that I think is absolutely an important point that a lot of people haven't focused on is how Subnautica ended up being a bigger deal for them in terms of getting new users on the platform than Borderlands 3 did.
And Borderlands 3 cost them $115 million.
And more people came for the $1.5 million offer.
But then again, this is 2018, so they were probably just doing all of these contracts at the same time and were just trying to figure things out.
As a fan of Subnautica, though, that really does kind of sort of at least warm my heart a bit that more people are willing to install software on their computer for Subnautica than something massively more popular like Borderlands.
Didn't it tie into a big Subnautica update, though?
I don't remember. I remember beating the game before when it was out of early access. I beat it before it came to EGS.
There's a whole new Subnautica.
The Below Zero,
yeah, like story driven.
Yeah, but that wasn't the one in question in these documents from years ago. We also got some details about how Sony was determining whether or not they wanted to join the crossplay party a few years ago. There are some emails that have been released between Gio Corsi, the senior director of Sony Interactive Entertainment America, and Joe Kreiner of Epic Game Business Development. Some fun Shark Tank snark between the two of them. The Epic Games rep says when trying to negotiate to get Sony to allow them to put Fortnite on a crossplay situation on the PlayStation, he said, "I can't think of a scenario where Epic doesn't get what we want. That possibility went out the door when Fortnite became the biggest game on PlayStation. We'll announce crossplay in conjunction with Sony. Epic goes out of its way to make Sony look like heroes. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but your license..." Oh, this one is so... You can tell he's putting the pressure on him here. "I don't think I've mentioned this before, but your license to use UE4 expires in May 2019, and that license has some of the best terms we've ever offered. Epic's not changing its mind on this issue, so let's just agree on it now." And this is like one of the moments where I guess like I'm a little like, yeah, because like it's fun to see that they do get this snarky and aggressive in their personal correspondences sometimes. Gio Corsi responds with, "Sorry that you feel things are moving too slowly for Epic with PlayStation and cross-platform play. I was under the impression that there was no movement with Microsoft on cross-platform. Has that changed? Cross-platform play is not a slam dunk, no matter the size of the title," which is totally a dig at how big Fortnite was at the time. Quote, "As you know, many companies are exploring this idea, and not a single one can explain how cross-console play improves the PlayStation business." Which is a quote that really turned out to probably bite him in the ass later.
Considering Sony just invested $200 million into Epic and Fortnite, I think it's safe to say they've changed their stance since then.
And at the time this was happening, I dug up an old Eurogamer interview where they gave the public statement that they were not doing crossplay to protect the children. In 2017, we have a quote from Jim Ryan, where they said, "We've got to be mindful of our responsibility to our install base. Minecraft, the demographic playing that, you know as well as I do, it's all ages, but it's also very young. We have a contract with the people who go online with us, that we look after them, and they are within the PlayStation curated universe. Exposing what in many cases are children to external influences we have no ability to manage or look after is something we have to think about very carefully." yes, gamers, it was not actually about the children, it was about the money. And this line about how not a single company can explain how cross-console play improves the PlayStation business does seem awfully ignorant of the whole entire scenario that ended up happening of these games that have crossplay on them becoming so massively popular because it increases the amount of friends that kids get to play their video games on their console with.
Well, Sony just did it for multiple games, right? They did it for Minecraft, right? They did it for Minecraft. That was like one of the first big ones.
Definitely turned around since this exchange between the two. And it's like, they're so aggressive with each other in the most like passive aggressive way. That line about like, your license expires soon, and that had some of the best deals we offered, was just like, you picture the lights shining over his eyes in that situation. Shame if something would happen to it. But yeah, Epic leading the charge for and pushing so hard for getting consoles to play with each other is probably one of the brighter spots of their reputation among this whole messy ordeal.
It says Epic spent $1 billion on PC exclusives in 2019, so they ramped up that shit hard the year after.
Was that the GTA 5 year? Or
very possible. This is like, as we are recording this, people don't realize that it's day 2 of the testimony.
More of this is going to come in every day.
It's happening right now. So
it's going to be the craziest week this year. There's E3 is probably not going to be as big a deal as this, which is why I made the case in the beginning that this might be the most we'll hear about the government scrutinizing the game industry since the 90s when they were doing the congressional hearings. Microsoft got roped into this somehow as supporting witnesses with supporting evidence about competing app marketplaces. Public companies like Sony and Microsoft face a greater burden for public disclosure to provide evidence supporting public cases like this. Valve almost got roped in and ended up denying, but we got some documents from Microsoft that have showed that they internally pay people to review video games, including competitors like Last of Us 2 from Sony, which the Microsoft reviewers were super duper positive on. The article in question is by 2 employers from a division called the GGPD Portfolio Team. Their job titles are content planner and digital portfolio planner, so they're not necessarily journalists and probably paid a lot more and are not paid by the click either. And a lot of commenters were surprisingly impressed at the quality of this Last of Us, this internal Microsoft-only Last of Us 2 review. They have a paragraph at the end that I feel like it almost goes without saying, but a lot of people were highlighting how much they appreciated this paragraph, where they say, as someone who cares deeply about the evolution and expansion of what storytelling and interactive entertainment can be, the lack of decent gun combat in the game and the contentious issues over the dueling protagonists, those things ultimately matter less than how incredibly well Naughty Dog have crafted and delivered the story they wanted to tell. I want to know why they do this internally. If they want a review of the competition's products, you'd think there'd be plenty of that available.
It's probably because they can ask them to look at specific things, and also probably because the people who are doing it have a unique understanding of maybe what the games that are being made currently under NDA at Microsoft are and how they can influence certain things.
How they compare. Yeah, and I would assume something like that is going on, but I would expect it to look uglier with more jargon, more numbers, more technical stuff. Like this sounds like a magazine page. It reads like a magazine page. It looks like a magazine page and gets pretty subjective at that. Because one of the big lines that the readers also loved was when they were saying something like, this is unparalleled compared to anything on PC and Xbox. Something along those lines. I didn't put that exact quote in my outline here, but they did say something to those extents.
It makes sense. I mean, it's companies doing research on their competitors' games. Makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, people do mock reviews all the time. Companies pay for that shit constantly.
Well, the other thing is that the people doing it aren't necessarily like paid reporters. They're part of some content production teams in the house, and this might be maybe this is a project to keep them busy. I don't know.
Very possible.
Don't know if I have as much to say about this one or was particularly surprised about this one, but we also found out Stalker 2 is going to be a 3-month Xbox console exclusive for a little while. Only 3 months.
The less the said, the better. I don't ever want to hear the word exclusive ever again.
I don't think anyone's really going to be that offended about Stalker 2 being a 3-month Xbox console exclusive. The little internal catalog that is out here, if it's simultaneously released at PC, there's going to be no issue over that. There's going to be no controversy over that one, I don't think.
My lips are sealed.
There will be more of this as the week goes on. This might be already dated by the time it comes out. But yeah, these are our revelations. Reporting on them and discussing them is creating an archival moment about what it is like to live in this part of history. This is an important thing to inform the listeners. If we are going to be, billing ourselves as discussion on the game industry, shouldn't this stuff be discussed?
100% it should. But remember, two sides to every coin.
Yeah.
And this needs to be discussed, but also it's easy to pick bones when it's all negative.
It's not all negative. There were the Epic does have some bright moments throughout this, especially with these emails from Joe Kreiner.
I wish we could take a poll generally, not gaming specifically, but like value proposition, right?
And I like the Subnautica deal. 1.5 million, great, awesome, beautiful. That seemed to work out fine.
Yes, but like in terms of value proposition, why? I don't get why, as a consumer, would you be so egregiously offended by the Epic Store when you would have literally already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games for free for literally signing up for something
13
that you do. Well, right. I mean, just this list in 2018 alone, right? Like 13 free games.
Oh, I have a shitload. I've been doing it for a long time.
I kind of don't understand it.
Dude, we talked about this before. Like, why don't you install it? And my library is insane.
I'm asking a very serious question about what is the loyalty to platforms like Steam that mean that some literally giving away games for free is not a consumer-friendly practice. I'm very confused.
Dude, because it's more inconvenient than having standardization across the industry. It opens up holes in the privacy of your data getting potentially leaked. It means another password you have to remember. There's the constant nagging reminder that this stuff is being subsidized by children buying microtransactions with parents' credit cards. A lot of that anger is also coming from a demographic that already owns those free games, that is attached to the libraries they have built up for years elsewhere. And I also want to point out, I'm not batting the drum as hard for that stuff as I was the hardware exclusives that require you to pay hundreds of dollars for hardware. When you don't see children like dividing up into a Steam family or an EGS family on the playground because both are free. It's not as big a barrier to jump as with exclusive consoles that were such a...
You don't get anything free from Steam.
The competition between these is going to be good, and that was always my point. I was always predicting that would be the silver lining.
That wasn't gamers' points. We've heard nothing but gamers hate on the Epic's Game Store since the inception. I will reference it again, the Uberlet situation from 2 years ago. Like, I do not understand it. Even as a consumer standpoint, I don't understand it. You will never going to get singularity in video games when multiple different companies are making different things. There's no such thing. You can't have standardization.
What about the data breaches? In 2020, there is standardization in other industries over some of the formats and stuff. Like, movies get released on multiple platforms. If you want to watch Feels Good Man, you can do it on Amazon or you can do it on YouTube.
Or you can do it on Netflix and Apple and HBO. And so you have to have all these different platforms with all these different passwords and all these different payment plans. I get it. There are billion-dollar companies like Epic and Apple right now fighting against each other, and it's hilarious to watch, right? But a lot of these deals, like the Celeste one, $750K for a team of 10 making great games, right? That is the shit that makes the industry move constantly around, and how that team can go on to make Earthblade, which is their next game, and how the team from Rhyme might be able to go on and make their next game, or the team from Super Meat Boy are able to go make their next game, right? I'm asking serious questions just because I think it's important to ask them how people hate the Epic Game Store but love Steam, and how, like, it's fine for other things to have. It's fine to have a Netflix account, a Spotify account, a HBO account. It's like just the norm to be watching Mandalorian on Disney Plus, but then having to switch over to HBO to watch Game of Thrones. Like, I don't quite get the vitriolic nature and backlash towards people who work in the industry, because the business is somewhat the same as those where there's different platforms where you have different things. There's also different storefronts, and also that indie devs and video game companies are taking deals to host their games on certain platforms. I don't think it's fair to be talking just about the consumer side specifically and not shining a light or getting angry at the video game dev side. And this is not digging in, but asking the serious question about how come if Epic are giving away 20 games a year, is that not consumer friendly just because you don't want to sign up and save a new password, versus being loyal to Steam, who don't do anything towards video game devs?
Probably because those 20 free games don't actually seem as valuable to them as they do to you.
Okay. I haven't gotten every one. I have 135 games on my Epic library. Okay, most of those were free because I barely bought anything. But 130. These are games like Rocket League, Observer. We got Short Hike, which I've played on here.
If you went on to buy something, as I also did, we are a 7% minority.
Alien Isolation, Assassin's Creeds are on here. Borderlands 2, free.
My weird point that I don't get why gamers are so resistant to, if it means you get free games, which is something gamers complain about, consumers complain about.
Gone Home.
I think I've only bought one game on the Epic Store. It was Tony Hawk, and everything else is free, and I don't really use it. But like,
Inside,
if consumer value and paying $70 and all that kind of stuff is stuff that really bothers certain people, there is literally a company that are giving away games every month for free. And as Matt has kind of pointed out, you can build a library of games for you to play.
Just Cause 4.
But it requires you signing up.
Layers of Fear 2.
And I have told you that there are issues with their data breaches, and the way that they made this money is from children on microtransactions, and that they have way bigger libraries on Steam that they are attached to, and Epic might not last as long as Steam might. And I also wanted to reiterate that I'm not necessarily as angry about this stuff as I would be a console exclusive where you have to pay for hardware, but that is the line of reasoning. If you actually want a checklist of things that make gamers mad about having to install Epic, that is the checklist. Those are the bullet points. And there's the fragmentation of the market, which to me was the competition. That is the silver lining. Prices go down when competition goes up. I was enjoying Origin giving away free games back when they were the first ones on the block to challenge Steam. But Origin is still a really crappy piece of software that I never launch unless we're playing Titanfall 2, which ended up getting moved over to Steam later.
So that's fair. And I think that's the thing about like something that's new, right? You remember when Steam first came out, it sucked.
Yeah, when Steam first came out, it went through a lot of the same growing pains. You might understand from maybe thinking back on those days.
Remnant.
So that's my point, is why people don't seem to give that kind of chance. Like it's like Epic or Steam. It's not like, oh, Epic might turn into something. If I create an account now and get all these free games, and then eventually when it has the features of Steam, I will therefore have a library already and an account that I'm inevitably going to open when it has the same features, right? Steam, from like a game dev standpoint, is garbage. It's awful. It's an awful platform to release your games on. It's kind of interesting how like almost the Valve cult-like nature of Steam is kind of a part of the Epic Game Store problem, right? They are trying to buy user acquisition. This kind of proves it. But that's because Steam has a monopoly on PC. And you've quite rightly said they're trying to break into that, right?
Another tick on the checklist. Maybe the people you're talking about are the ones who are already dedicated enough to following PC gaming that they already have the games offered to free.
Agreed.
That's the point I said earlier about how those free games probably don't represent as much value to them as they do to you.
Shadowrun.
I mean,
Soma.
but we're talking about general consumers, right?
Yes. No, you're talking about angry gamers, actually. That is what you were so...
I'm talking about the vitriolic backlash, to Epic.
And that is a minority. That's not general consumers.
But I'm asking you, as a person who fights for consumer rights constantly, what is the problem with Epic regarding consumers then?
The quality of their software, I guess?
I've had no problems.
But what does Steam do that is better? What does Steam do that is uniquely better, that makes it better to use?
Integrated forums, integrated reviews, gift features, refunds. There is a big list.
The refunds is very important. But do the forums and stuff, do you actually use them?
Yes.
Would you rather not a free game than use those things?
I don't understand why would that be necessary to get a free game? The refunds is cool. Yes, the refunds is cool. But as far as just installing it just to get free games. But yeah, I understand that if you're buying stuff and there's exclusives on the Epic Store that you want to have returns just in case the game sucks or whatever the fuck people return games for.
What if it doesn't work on their computer?
It doesn't work on their computer. Yeah. They didn't check the requirements.
Super important. Super important.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is not about exclusives. This conversation is not about exclusives, but it did.
No, because I don't think the market's fragmented into Steam versus Epic. I think everyone's got both these days.
Yeah, they do. Which is kind of what my misunderstanding is about signing up for Epic and getting these free games. A lot of people seem to make out that Epic are evil for offering
they have a return policy.
Free games.
They added this a long time ago. I remember this. The same thing. 14 days within purchase, less than 2 hours of playtime, same as Steam.
Good.
This has happened in May. I remember when this happened because people hated it that they didn't have this.
Yeah, no, it's getting better over time, but one of the items on that list is that it is lower quality software than Steam.
It was shit in the beginning,
That's
complete
bad.
Shit. I still downloaded and got my free games, but it was trash before. You couldn't even browse the fucking page, the store pages properly. But it's not like that anymore. It's not like that anymore. I don't. That's old shit. When a game first comes out, this is not Cyberpunk. This didn't stay shit. You know what I mean?
But you're also focusing on a backlash from that specific period in time. If you're going to immerse yourself in the negativity of gamer outrage that will drive you crazy, have some perspective on how small of a minority it is and how small of a time frame.
Okay, George, I do understand. I really do. But you don't understand that this kind of the way that this kind of stuff gets fed back gets mixed in with that vitriolic nature. It's consumerism and consumer rights and entitlement. That there's a wibbly wobbly line in video games. Would you disagree with that? People who complain on Twitter.
It depends on the context and the situation. You're saying, would I rather have a free game over no game at all? And the reality is it genuinely depends on the game. It does make sense that people might actually have gotten more excited over Subnautica than a lot of other games on that list, frankly.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No, absolutely no doubt, right? I mean, the user acquisition aside, right? Me downloading Subnautica versus me downloading Celeste. I'm going to play Celeste, right? That massively fits me far more, right?
Amnesia.
I think it's just
Alien Isolation.
The resistance to Epic.
Yep. And that resistance is there because the data breaches, the lower quality software, how they had less features over time.
There was only one data breach, and it was Fortnite accounts, and it was in 2018. There's nothing to do with the Epic Game Store.
And Sony, you're not going to have a PlayStation anymore because Sony had the same thing? You're not going to have an Xbox anymore because Xbox had the same thing? Everyone has had that. You see what I'm saying? It's the negativity which I don't like. It's just it happens all the time.
Well, if you're trying to make the comparison to something like Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 4 VR coming out on the Oculus Quest 2, then that is an unappealing option. That's a different situation than software stores.
The only one who has mentioned exclusives the only person who's mentioned exclusives today is you in comparison to this. We're talking about the deals in the UA and the free games. We're not talking about exclusives here.
That's why, like, it doesn't matter. You listen, Facebook already have your shit. They already know what you do. Google already know everything you do on the internet. It's done. They sell your information. It's done. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? It's too late. It's too late, guys. If you're...
It's just the serious question about this, like the backlash to Epic in general.
Mm-hmm.
But you seem to be very for that.
Mm.
And you have done ever since.
Not just a little.
So that is the kind of... I don't buy missing features, data breaches and stuff as a reason why people are as vitriolic towards Epic and the Epic Game Store.
Okay.
It's kind of like this weird thing where like everybody complains about full price games, everybody complains about game devs, but then when you're offered free games, people don't want to sign up and actually get them. It's just like complaining for entitlements, complaining sake.
Even when I have free games, I'm not launching the store because there's less to click around and do on there than there's way less to click around and do on there than Steam. Like, these are the reasons why. I know you don't agree with them, but that is the reason why.
I mean, I don't use the Epic Game Store myself. It's just a genuine question about why.
All right. Well, the only reason I even jumped into this is because usually I don't talk about this because it doesn't matter to me. Like, if I don't care if some random person out there doesn't download Epic Game Store because it should stay that way. You don't like it, then don't use it. But don't complain on the fucking internet and get more wild and attack someone verbally for some bullshit. Like, if you don't like it, just don't download the shit. Why you gotta be so dumb? Like, it doesn't matter.
If you like Steam and you want to buy games on Steam, buy games on Steam. If you want to buy games on the Rift, buy games on the Rift. I don't get it. I don't get why people complain about things that are like business decisions that happen in every industry. It is so confusing to me. From like, you are getting free games if you go onto this platform. Therefore, if you want them, go get it. But it's like the comparisons and like how could Epic do this? How could Steam do this? How could Xbox do this? That baffles me when you don't. The same thing doesn't happen in other industries. No one goes around saying, how could Disney only put The Simpsons on Disney Plus? Nobody does that.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't. People like love the shit. Marvel fucking teasing whatever, right? They'll put that shit wherever they want. It's like The Mandalorian season 3 coming only to Disney Plus. Everyone's like, woo, The Mandalorian's back. Woo, sign up to Disney Plus. It's so different. The perception is so different.
That's not my internet, my friend. I have seen tons of comments expressing like negativity over how The Simpsons doesn't fit the Disney brand, about how young children might accidentally click on it. It's about how weird it is that you have to go to Disney for something like that instead of Hulu, and how...
Yeah, weird, but I don't see anybody like complaining that it's not on Netflix or it's not on... No one's going around like, oh, I can't believe Mickey Mouse movies are not on Netflix. It's really odd.
That's why it's extremely popular.
They do complain that it's not on broadcast television. There is a lot of negativity expressed by people who don't want to pay extra money than what they're already paying for television video entertainment to sign up for additional services. It's a different market. It's a different audience. This is like old people who still have cable, but those are the people who are getting, you know, not necessarily locked out, but yes, inconvenienced and having to spend more money because they would rather not have to pay an extra $15 a month for a service on a computer they don't know how to use.
We're not talking about Epic anymore because you don't have to pay for Epic. It's just an install, right? But like, all right, for this anyway, for this, I would say many people don't necessarily complain because let me say, Twitter, you could get a lot of ridiculous comments on there, and not a lot of them are just like against, oh my god, I can't believe fucking Disney and HBO Max, all the Ghibli films are on HBO Max. You know, not a lot of people, you know, fucking spread hate for that. But the thing is, if you're having trouble, share it. Like, I'm pretty sure just like many people, they share their Spotify, they share their HBO Max, their Hulu, their Netflix, all of them do. And listen, if you don't have friends, steal the shit.
Yeah, companies don't want you to do that. That's not what they're going to want you to say on the podcast.
Don't complain on the internet. Keep that shit to yourself. Steal the shit. Get yourself a VPN for $5 a month and steal the shit. Don't complain on the internet. Keep that negativity to yourself. Stay positive. Watch some shit.
Oh, man. I can't. A lot of problems have been solved by complaining on the internet in the past few years.
Yeah, but a lot of people have been attacked because of that misdirected negativity, right?
True.
What do the Ooblets team have anything to do with Epic and the decisions they make? But because they have a deal with Epic, therefore thousands and thousands and thousands of people must offer their vitriolic opinion. That is the kind of problem with like pushing this, like, we should complain at these people.
And some of those poor people are gross.
As I recall, it was because of patronizing and rude language in their blog post about that, where they were like making fun of people over the backlash.
Dude, are you going to write history on one of the worst things that happened in the games industry in the past 2 years to an indie dev? They wrote a blog post just about them switching over to Epic.
And it included digs at the gamers.
Hey, listen, I probably would have digged too. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say I agree with the approach.
No, it's already happened, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It has, because I don't care.
No, the problem with that is that you don't want to go down the Adam Orth Phil Fish school of PR, where you're going to come off as a rude, unlikable personality when trying to sell a product to people who have to part with their surgery money for it.
Dude, surgery money? Seriously? Dude, like, listen. This is a discussion we always have.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Ooblets would exist without Epic? You don't know that, do you?
Wait, actually, yeah, wasn't it actually in development before they accepted the deal and they like...
Yes, it was, yeah.
Had a crowdfunding campaign or something?
You have to have something to show. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to make a game. Can you give me money?
I'm reading through the blog post because I'm double checking.
Okay.
That's exactly what Mark sworn. Yeah, it is a snarky blog post.
The only thing I can see snarky is they're quoting, it's anti-consumer to have exclusives. And then they say, this is the most common complaint about Epic, but I don't think people have really thought it through. I can understand the frustration of having to buy different consoles to play the games you want, a la George's opinion, but there's no extra cost to use EGS. The store and launcher just require a free sign-up. It's not like having to pay for HBO and Netflix and Hulu to watch all the shows you want. It's more just like having to press a button on your remote to change between the free TV channels.
It's like our exact conversation.
It's disappointing to see folks threatening to pirate a game just because they can't get it on the game launcher they're used to. And venting this opinion, which, as I did last week and also a la now, resulted in backlash, right? It resulted in, for them on the scale.
We're going to get heavy backlash on this one. So let's just move on to questions.
Let's do AG Ross's one first.
I'll start us off. Have you ever damaged a console, game, or peripheral in an embarrassing way? George, do you remember Japan?
I picked this question out of the list because I remembered Japan.
Oh, wait, I remember you telling me about Japan.
Video footage of me accidentally leaning on a Famicom inside the Airbnb in Japan and breaking the shell. Like, not the system, but the shell.
A tiny little chair under a tiny little table in an incredibly cramped room where the tiny little furniture was placed next to the Famicom by the TV.
Yeah, I had the video. I was going to record like a little scene or whatever, and I leaned up against it and it went crack just like that. Not much weight, just boom.
I've seen that video.
You looked like a blow-up doll.
What do you mean I look like a...
Just a perfectly round circular mouth and wide open eyes. Yeah. Like the Home Alone poster.
Oh my God.
The Scream painting. You looked like the Scream.
I was so scared. And then we bought a new one. And then I remember paying you guys back.
So we had a cute Japan adventure out of it. $90, 90,000 yen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
9,000 yen.
So
damn.
we had a cute little Japan adventure out of it though, where we went to Akihabara, went to the used game stores and bought a Famicom and made sure it had the close enough kind of cable connector. Because as I recall, wasn't there like an S-video hookup or something on there, something special?
Yeah.
It was modded some way, so we weren't actually able to get that guy's original hardware back, but we did try as hard as we could to replace it. And then we left a cute note written in Google translated Japanese.
Yeah. And he seemed okay with it.
Guys.
He seemed okay with it.
Yeah.
And it was not like the Famicom was broken. It just the shell was broken. Which I'm pretty sure, dude, you could probably go in what's that place we always go to?
Kyle Givelli's 3D printing emporium?
No, it's the one with all the alleys. Where did we go karaoke?
Was it
that
Akihabara?
Night? Huh?
Was it Akihabara?
It might be Akihabara. Yeah, it was.
Where the electronic stores had like carts full of screws and transistors.
People just walk in with their like broken electronics, and you have soldering and all that type of shit just laid out, and you see people with just like these little cubbies of just bolts and nuts and shit and nails, and it's just like what you could get anything in that little corner. It was
the history is that it used to be a radio supply mega district. They used to sell radio parts there, and that's how Akihabara gradually evolved into where all the nerds go. And if you go behind the scenes, you can still find some layers of Akihabara where it still looks like it's for building a radio instead of buying waifu pillows. Yeah,
I love those little alleys.
It was really cyberpunk.
My favorite.
Like it looked like an Arab open air market, except the bags in front of all the merchants that they were haggling over were full of electronics, like components.
I need to get my passport.
It was very weird to see that
because we need to go back.
Sold with like yes,
we need to go back.
The second vaccine is inside me, and I'm actually going to be shopping for those tickets now.
Oh baby, Japan is just not vaccinating. Holy shit.
Is Japan open for business though?
No, is it bollocks?
They're having a Japanese only Olympics for the audience.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign of us coming over there at this time.
The less we talk about the Japanese vaccination, look, we went from spending a year insulting America to now we can spend a year insulting Japan because it's so far behind on the vaccines.
Oh no.
When you guys are going to be partying, I will be crying.
We're hoping for fall. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be partying before then, but
sorry, I want to tell you about my broken console.
Right.
I didn't do it, but my cousin did.
Oh,
Daniel, my cousin Daniel. If you don't remember, when we were 7, well, you were 5 and I was 7, you spilt milk all in my Sega Mega Drive.
Oh shit!
Not only did it not work ever again, it really smelt bad too. I was really upset.
I have a dad question. Did either of you cry over this spilled milk?
Wow.
That's it, guys. I'm out. I'm retired.
Listen. I think I've said this before, but just in case, I was going to mention it during the Persona 3 talk, actually. So this actually works. I didn't finish Persona 3 back in the day because I had this friend called James that used to live by me back in high school. And he didn't have consoles, so I would always let him borrow. But every time I let him borrow my console, he would break it. Every
motherfucker.
time I let him borrow my PS2 with Persona 3, it broke. That's why I didn't finish Persona 3. I also let him hold my Xbox. It broke. Red ring.
What did James do?
He never disclosed that information. See, the thing is, he would say, I don't know, man, it just broke. I was just like, the fuck? I was so irritated.
What happened to the PS2?
I just took it back. I don't know if I traded it in to like Multivest, which I always talk about, my local game store I grew up with. and probably traded it in because they fix stuff all the time. I probably had them fix it or traded in for a new one. I can't remember what I did, but red rings are easy to fix, and whatever he did to PS2, I don't really remember. I might have let him keep it. I don't know. I don't know. It was a long time ago, and yeah. So fuck those guys. Okay, spilled milk guy and next door neighbor guy.
Daniel, I'll find you.
When I was a adolescent turning into a teenager and learning how to take computers apart and put them back together again for the first time, I broke my computer's power supply by sticking a screwdriver inside it.
Wow.
Oh, I have another one, actually. Sorry. I have another. So I used to have a PSP, and I used to take it everywhere because I used it as a music player as well as playing Tekken Dark Resurrection on it, which is a fucking amazing fighting game. So back in when, we all had MP3s, right? So my MP3 was my PSP because I had like, I think it was a 512 megabyte memory card in it. And one winter when I must have been 15, 16, I went sledging with the PSP in my pocket.
Oh, okay.
And I went down to one of the steepest hills in Wales, in my town.
Wales.
And rolled right off that thing, popped the screen on the PSP, and it had it just literally, the screen was fucked. It was like colored.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that look.
It can look pretty sometimes.
With the water,
there's some fortunate.
Yeah. It was done. So I went home and I said to my mom it was broken, and she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "I don't know. It just happened." And she was like, "Oh my god!" And she went with me to the store with the receipt. I was like, "This just stopped working," and they replaced it.
They did?
Yeah, they did. I got a new PSP. Not only that.
You got away with murder.
Not only that, I got the new PSP model. Was it the 3000? The 3000 at the time? With the other screen. I got the new model 3000.
Fight the power, Liam. Way to fuck over the man.
God. PSP was one of my favorite handheld consoles, man.
It was amazing.
Yeah. I used to hack it. I'm not gonna even lie. I bought games, but I also hacked that shit.
About a decade after I stuck a screwdriver into my computer's power supply, I was building my second computer and should have known better, but I ended up tearing a piece of PCB board off of the motherboard because I thought it was packaging tape. So I guess I'm just not allowed near computer hardware. like I remember thinking to myself, this seems really hard to take off. Am I really supposed to be doing this? And then when the computer would not turn on, I had my first guess why.
Oh man, memories are just flooding in.
You got another one?
The good old
days. Do you have
days.
more friends who broke consoles?
I was thinking about when I was playing Super Mario on my PSP. Just all sorts of shit. You could just
you naughty bastard.
Super Mario, yeah, blending the two together. I always thought that was fascinating when I was young. Like, I'm playing a Mario game on my Sony. Like, it's just,
Yeah, way to fuck the man.
Fuck the man.
Fight the power.
Yeah, man. Pokemon, all sorts of shit, man. It worked perfectly, too. God.
I don't remember how it happened, but I do have memories of one of my NES controllers being covered in syrup.
What?
I don't remember how I was like 7 or 8. This is one of my early childhood memories when I might have plausible deniability as to why I would apply syrup to a game controller. But I just have memories of me being upset about my controller being all sticky from getting too much syrup on it.
Wow.
We are terrible people.
I feel like that's the thing that you often say is your peripherals getting sticky.
Oh.
Yeah.
God.
Is your VR
destiny.
headset like sticky right now?
I don't. It's definitely got that like sweatiness that they tend to develop after a year. You know, you put it on and you kind of smell it a bit.
Fucking gross, dude.
Well, that's why you keep the wipes around if you have friends over.
Next question.
Began Blue says that I just learned that Gravity Rush's full name in Japan is Gravity daze / gravitational dizziness : the perturbation of her inner space caused by the repatriation of the upper stratum.
What?
Normally, I only see messy Japanese games like this on light novels and manga. What's up with that?
What?
I don't know. Japan likes to name things terribly.
Yeah, Matt, you've never seen this stuff before? There's a lot of really wacky Japanese names for things.
Well, I've seen Gravity Rush, but I haven't seen their real name before.
Oh, Gravity Rush is such a better name than Gravity daze / gravitational dizziness : the perturbation of her inner space caused by the repatriation of upper stratum. You know, it doesn't roll off the tongue like Gravity Rush does.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, Gravity Daze.
So yeah, they probably just actually call it Gravity Daze, don't they?
In Japan, they do.
So when do they use the full name? Like just for store listings? Like, does anyone say that with their mouth?
Probably just for marketing. It's like colon, subtext, subtitle thing. Usually, Japan doesn't know how to name things because in Japan, naming things like that is considered to be cool. Therefore, we get the Kingdom Hearts nonsense, right? They use a lot of English words. They use a lot of French words. They use a lot of German words. They use a lot of Italian words. It's considered cool to be using global words, right? Or to have long names. And you got to remember, so the one thing that people don't realize is that this second part, I'm not 100% sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was written in kanji, for example, right? And you got to remember, when you look at kanji, you can fit a lot more information into kanji in like 3 or 4 characters. Whereas then when you spell out this kanji, it means an incredibly long sentence, right? Because that's the only way you can translate it into English. So take it with a pinch of salt.
When you go to the museums in Japan and you read the plaques, the English section is like 3 paragraphs long. And then you look at the Japanese section and they have like 4 lines.
That's why subtitling for movies in Japan is kind of a difficult thing as well. Because they cram so much information in short lines, and then also they just sometimes have just one kanji, and there's like a really long sentence happening, and they're just staring at one kanji because that one kanji contains all of the contextual information required in that sentence.
So, how long does it take to say the full proper title of Gravity Rush? How many seconds? I'm trying to find it on the internet, and I'll give it over to you so you can pronounce it correctly. But I am curious in how long it takes to say in Japanese.
Well, if you find it, then I would attempt to tell you.
Here we go. I'm going to copy paste it to you now.
Wait, hang on a sec. That's a lot of kanji I don't understand. Gravity daze. 重力的めまい、上水の期間において、彼女の宇宙に生じた節度。
Imagine saying that really fast at the end of a commercial.
上水の期間において、彼女の宇宙。Japanese.
Man, they really got to squeeze all that into the commercials, huh? Wow. That's fun. That's cute. That's funny.
Oh, it's uchu, not sorry. Romanji is really hard to read sometimes. Uchu. 16的めまい上水の期間において彼女の宇宙生じた節度. Bracket, you'll be able to bracket wherever you are. Discord user, you'll be able to read that better than me. But yes, I don't know. I probably kanji retains a lot more information, but that is ridiculously long.
In the spirit of the question, I Googled up some animes with ridiculously long titles and found one.
こちら葛飾区kamare koen mai hashutsujo. The movie 2, UFO Shurai, Tornado Daisakusen.
I can't believe I would want to I almost want to learn Japanese just so I can confirm whether or not they actually say all that when they have to do a commercial.
Probably.
I'm also realizing how hard now it is to read Japanese in English letters.
It's like a Cinco product.
I never have to do that. It's so hard to read Romanji. Like all the pronunciations all over the place. This is really weird. I just learned a new word. Sorry, I just realized I learned a new word, which is setsudo, which means perturbations.
So the
perturbation.
The titles of Japanese media are so long that they can be a vocabulary lesson in and of themselves.
Yeah.
Speaking of beautiful, elegant writing, Louis Guillermo says, "What are your favorite small-scale pieces of writing in video games? Every now and then some lines, some quotes, and some phrases come through that are as good as any other mediums."
Do you like my sunglasses? Snake. Do you like my sunglasses?
Metal Gear Solid is going to be full of those, but I wanted to veer away and do a bit of Final Fantasy. One of my favorite lines in all video games is at the end of Final Fantasy IX when they try to end on an upper, on a more optimistic note, and they say, "No squalls or clouds are going to hold us back." And it's just like,
oh, no.
It is the funniest, like, least subtle, but also, like, kind of like, it worked on me in a really good way when I was a kid playing through it. Like, I actually felt uplifted and inspired and got a bit of goosebumps.
I like the ending to A Short Hike a lot. It's just a phone call conversation, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, every word in that game counts.
Just the hello. Oh, love it.
Bullet Storm by People Can Fly. I think it's developers. My ass is tingling with anticipation. Is the line. My ass is tingling with anticipation. It was said very aggressively. It was quite nice.
Yeah, that game was full of them.
There's a lot of that kind of dialogue in like Suda51's games, right? Like, have you ever played Shadows of the Damned?
No.
Oh, dude, there's a lot of that kind of thing.
Oh,
suck my balls. It's great.
Well, okay, but what about like beautiful? What about serious? Yeah. What about like what writings made us maybe feel uplifted and inspired and instead of
video games, bro.
It is video games. I'm pretty sure there is one.
There's definitely some, but they're not memorable.
But I can't. Right? Yeah, it's not stuck in my brain like Outlast, where the doctor was chasing you. Buddy, where are you, buddy? Buddy.
Jason!
Yeah.
Jason!
Fuck that game.
Because I think this is quite a thing, because most of them have to come from cutscenes, right? Because otherwise you won't remember them if they're in video games.
What about Auto Tomato? Isn't that game amazing?
Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear Revengeance Rising. Make America great again.
But that's fun. That's camp. I'm trying to think of like examples of something more serious, and
it's hard, isn't it?
It's funny because like whatever message Papers, Please says is so much more efficient than a message that a video game is going to convey with words and stuff. I do remember some lines, especially from Kumo in Disco Elysium, about how Kumo does not respect police authority because police can't do shit to Kumo. I remember the anti-arresting tactics that gangs were using in Disco Elysium by like twisting around their confessional statement to make it sound like everyone is saying it and they can't arrest everyone at once. I remember a lot of good Twine games from 2012 by the Slime Queen Porpentine, where she would create these ridiculous scenarios where you play as Glitter Queen Taylor Swift blasting haters with laser energy. Yeah, no, it's out there. It's out there. It just takes a little harder to think up of the examples.
Yeah.
Like video games can be a more literary format, but they're so diverse. Like I really do think that like just calling them video games makes you want to lump them all into the same category of similar things, but an RPG or a text game will inevitably have more of a focus on its literary merits than a Papers, Please. Than even an artsy game with a deep message that you have to read through gamic language is still a fundamentally different experience from so many other products that still make it to some degree of renown on the market or the artsy scenes.
Yeah, thought-provoking stuff is not common,
but it is there.
Like Final Fantasy 14, where that guy reveals that he killed Sultana. It was me. Just like little moments like that. And those are the moments that stick in my brain the most. Because I'm not gonna, like, I don't know. Like, it's rare that games are trying to be that serious.
I'm also remembering Planescape Torment and a conversation that's very important midway through the game where a character asks you what defines the nature of a man. And you have like a list of 12 different options that all will get you going, huh. Those old Interplay games, those old Interplay isometric RPGs were full of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we also remember Andrew Ryan's monologues.
Would you kindly?
A man chooses, a slave obeys. Would you kindly? Because it's a video game and I'm the level designer. The last question is Jonathan. I've got a question for you guys. Do you have any favorite examples of IRL game design? 2 examples to explain what I mean is how in football, players have to use their feet for both movement and for playing. So like in so many dual-purpose mechanics in games, like in Downwell. In order to get better at shots or passes or ball control, you will have to sacrifice movement and vice versa. Pretty much a staple in game design. Another example is drifting in various racing sports. The lead racer has to deal with most of the wind resistance, so staying exactly behind a car in front means you face less air resistance, allowing you to achieve higher speeds and overtake. This is a simple negative feedback loop / comeback mechanic, similar to Call of Duty Modern Warfare's death streaks.
Totally fair point. I mean, the 2 examples you gave are sports, and sports tend to have intentional rule design by purpose anyway. Sports are like the best things to make video games of anyway, because they have clearly defined rules that you don't need to break.
They are video games' ancient ancestors.
Yes. They essentially are the original video games. They have clearly defined game theory and rulings. That's why they're so popular.
But, game design, so many other aspects of art are informed by the human condition and the human bodies. And I got a huge dosage in how these sacrifices are made when doing my bike trip. Like one of the reasons... Oh, yeah, go.
No, I was just think about jobs, right? Think about how many video games emulate jobs or having a job because of the feedback loop of doing something in return for a reward, you know?
Video games are broken machines that you do work to put back together. And boy, oh boy, does that seem more and more real the older you get.
I mean, leveling up your life, your
Getting
body.
older.
Your body is a negative,
workout.
Has feedback loops. I absolutely got a dosage of this in my bike trip, how the little bits of inventory management and caloric management, calorie counting, making sure you have enough energy for the day is stuff that all was very, very interesting decisions to make that did remind me of a video game. And I think that's why I have a higher tolerance for shitty eating and drinking systems in games. It's because my brain's in a unique place where I can connect that dots with IRL biology and nutrition. Like I was watching a documentary on the history of maths on Curiosity Stream where they were talking about how we have a 10 base numeral system because we have 10 fingers. If we had evolved to have different amount of fingers, we'd have different math and thus different video game design. So yeah, I think a lot of video games are actually inspired by how our bodies work in ways.
School is Persona game design.
Oh my gosh, yeah, gotta remind me.
Social links,
Yeah, don't buy it, Royal. Don't buy it. Don't buy it, Matt. God dang it! I got work to do. Can't devote 100 hours to a game.
But Matt, that would be intentional level design.
Yeah, you're gated. They are gating you from a fulfilling, rewarding life and a productive work schedule.
You have to get over it to then level up in your life, Matt.
Village is going to be significantly shorter, and I'm going to play that.
Dude, I love how short the Resident Evil games are.
Yeah.
When is that coming out? Friday?
Yeah, it's coming out Friday, man. Ooh. I'll be there waiting.
I'm not pressing the button unless I see a bunch of 9s on the Metacritic page.
Who else is going to be waiting outside of GameStop at Thursday at 12 p.m.? Huh? 12 a.m.
Me.
12 a.m. Sorry. 12 a.m.
Dude, we're all too old for that shit.
Yes. I don't remember the last time I did any of that shit. It must have been years, man.
I did it twice and I didn't get the appeal the both times I did it.
I used to do it a lot back in the day.
Kind of felt like I'd be playing the game the next afternoon anyway.
Yeah, I would sit out there and you'll see a bunch of people who also want to play the game, strike up a conversation. It was a nice little community thing.
Oh, that's right. You have social skills.
There's some people there who don't have social skills, and you just gotta poke them a little bit. You gotta.
That's another level design tackle.
Like, hey, George, how you doing?
Not enough people realize that social skills are like an EXP bar you gotta fill that you level up in throughout life.
Yeah.
I also, got the dosage of that on the bike trip. The bike trip really helped me out.
Yeah. Having social skills makes things a little bit more fun, I would say. I remember going ATVing when I first got here. And, like, people just pulled up.
Probably correlates with a longer life expectancy, to be honest, having good social skills. Like, that is how our bodies are built.
Yeah. I wouldn't have the jobs I get now if I didn't have social skills, that's for sure.
Man, and video games typically do such a bad job, too, of what actually is going through your head when you're having a conversation with someone. Like, I really want to see more games have more unique dialogue systems, like how in Outer Wilds, you kind of translate individual words with the other characters sometimes.
There's a game that's like all dialogue, and it's like during a time where it's with George Washington and stuff like that. And so there's like, you might be interested in that, George. You might want to look that up. I'll send it to you.
Dialogue, even talking to people, even social skills still demonstrate a lot of the same feedback decisions of having to weigh a consequence against a penalty. Like it's all an expression of what it means to be human, even video games. And I think that's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Like one of the reasons I really can say I enjoyed Umurangi Generation, even though I did find it frustrating to play, is that it ultimately did capture the frustrations of an experience that it was aiming to do as art. Yeah, photography can get turned into a video game just as well.
Shigeru Miyamoto once said, "The most inspiring things are those that come from his garden." So you can make a game out of anything as long as it has defined rules, an intentional progression system. You'll be great.
Pokemon is bug collecting.
It's why playing games doesn't necessarily mean you're a game designer, because there's so much inspiration out there from other sources.
And Zelda is cave exploration.
Yep. Pikmin Garden, Zelda exploration. Star Fox is this weird ass.
Dark Souls is getting over a breakup.
Yeah. The minefield of text messages is every enemy.
Yeah. We covered a shitload of ground this week, huh? But anyways, yeah, no, we should go. We should wrap. We had our time. We had our run.
We did a heck of a job.
We had the good, the bad, the sad, the funny, the romance, the suspense, and the action and the drama, and now we're rolling the credits.
The curtain has called for one last time.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Yep.
Hope you keep coming back week after week after week.
After month, after year.
Thanks to you two, Matt Visual and Liam Edwards.
After a year. How old are we going to be when we're doing this? Are we going to be like 40 and still doing the Dad and Sons podcast? Are we actually going to have sons while we do this podcast?
This is what Umurangi Generation did to me. That thing was helping me cope with extremely negative emotions and experiences. And that's why I feel like it's so cool.